Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Just if you bear with us, we're having technical difficulties. We can't get the system up and running just yet. So we're on the phone with IT now trying to get that to work. So just wanted to let you know why we're going to be a minute or so late. Thank you. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order tonight. If you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Green, could you do a roll call vote for establish a quorum, please?
Mr. Bowen?
Here.
Mr. Walls?
Here.
Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Doss?
Here. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Just two things before we start on the agenda. One, I wanted to let the citizens know because there's been a lot of questions of why we're here in this building tonight and why we're not at the high school. The high school and the middle school were not available for us to use tonight, so this was the only location that we had. It was either cancel the meeting or have the meeting here. Second, there'll be topics discussed that are emotional, cause emotional responses. At our last meeting, we had a lot of clapping and gesturing, and we have a full agenda again tonight. And I'm asking you to be respectful to everybody through these comments, and I greatly appreciate it. Board members, we'll get started with the approval of the agenda. I would like to ask for a motion. Would like to remove 5A, hole-in-the-wall discussion and anything to do that would affect our current litigation, and 9E, which is the resolution which authorizes the county attorney to file the appeal to the Virginia Supreme Court. And I would like to add 9F, Matthews County Sheriff's Office grant discussion. So could I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Ms. Green, could you do roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bowen,
Aye.
Mr. Walls,
Aye.
Ms. Phillips,
Aye.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Doss.
Aye. Next are supervisors' reports. Supervisors, who would like to go?
I can go, Chairman.
Mr. Jones?
Ms. Green, could you pull up, the clips from September 27th, 2016? To the citizens, I put together a narrative of some of the past history of the restaurant over on the parcel at 384 Old Ferry Road.
The question now about the permit that Jamie's issued and I think part of this is to help them with their, design criteria. They want to see exactly, what's under the carpet, what's under the, the wall coverings. They need to, know that.
Well, does that have, can he do that without a contract?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have a risk there.
That was from September 27, 2016 Board of Supervisors meeting. The attached audio clip, County Administrator Mindy Kahn explains that Matt Casal is working as an unpaid contractor to start demolition inside the Sea Breeze restaurant. Jamie Wilkes stated that he issued the demolition permit that day, September 27, 2016. Demolition contractor has to be licensed in the state of Virginia. Matt Casal, unpaid license, was not licensed into Virginia. The photos submitted as a part of Mr. Bowen's presentation on July 27th, 2025 were taken after Matt Casal started the demolition. So the pictures that you saw and on July the 18th were not the pictures the day that Mr. Galuzzi left the building. Would you please show the pictures of the building on the next slide, please? Okay, so subsequently, this building had had several renovations after storms, but nothing occurred to the building between 2013 and until it was worked on by Mr. Casal. Mr. Galuzzi, the day that he left the hole in the wall, had witness with him, and once these pictures come up, it will show the condition that the building was left in and not what was presented to you, the public. Okay? And there's a gentleman here who's going to speak at citizens' comment, okay, that was there the day with Mr. Galuzzi, okay, and has all the recollection of it. So for whatever this came up in this last meeting about the condition of the building and putting this on Mr. Galuzzi's back was false. Okay? So all of these pictures that were taken, the building was not in that condition. And as I said, photos have also been submitted to by Mr. Valdriki because he was there the day Mr. Galuzzi left the building. So I'm going to skip over all of that And we're gonna go to another part of history, so everybody knows and understands. On May the 12th, 2016, at 3:47 PM, Mr. Gary Galuzzi emailed Miss Melinda Connor. He says, "Afternoon, Mindy. I have a few questions. I'm very confused." He says, "I'm in default of my lease agreement because I missed the date of notification to the town." Am I in default of the lease agreement, the date that the notification to the town? That has never been made clear to me. I feel as the situation affects many people. Communications has been poor at best. I found out all of this in a newspaper. If not, will there be a lapse of time after June 30th of June, where we cannot operate the restaurant? Meaning, can we continue into July, maybe August, on a month-to-month basis if you, all the town, have not made a decision on your RFP? The reasons for all these questions are that I have a responsibility to my 10 employees. This goes beyond simple business. I understand the mistakes I have made. If I am in default, I understand. He said, rules are rules. If it's an oversight that I missed in contract, I don't understand why I'm being held to a standard that any mistake is unacceptable. It is dehumanizing. Please answer my questions. You said to me once, "I want you to succeed." That was after I was made aware that my bookkeeper hadn't paid the rent. Consequently, they stole money from me and were fired. I also remember the next day I came down and paid it in full. I can't fix it if I don't know it's broken. As town administrator, I understand you have a say in all of this. I would appreciate answers to my questions. Help me clear up my confusion so we all can move forward. Gary. That was on May the 12th, 2016. On May the 18th, 2016, 10:15 a.m. in the morning, Ms. Connor responds to Mr. Galuzzi. She says, "Hi, Gary. You are not in default of your lease. But because it's been a number of years since the lease was advertised, the county is issuing a request for proposals for a new lease that will start in July. You are encouraged to submit a proposal. I do not anticipate a lapse in time between the current lease and the new lease. I have attached the new lease that is revised version of the current lease. I'm also attaching a red line copy so you'll be able to track the revision easier and a copy of the advertisement for the RFP. I anticipate the board reviewing any proposals received on June 6th and making a decision at that time. They will have a public hearing on June 28th on entering into the new lease as required by law. Please let me know if you have any questions. I know this is a difficult situation for you, but please know that this is not a reflection on you as a tenant. It is an exercise in transparency and open government in which publicly owned assets are made available on a competitive basis to the private sector." In the meeting, also, in the meeting, a question was asked to Mr. Bowman by Mr. Walls about his status of his law license, in which he said that he had a license to practice law. As of that day, Mr. Bowen's law license is in retirement, although reinstatement eligible, okay? At that time, there was no law license. Thank you, appreciate it.
Board members, anything further? Yeah.
Now, I think I've said all I need to say. You can show the pictures too. Yeah, you can show the pictures, please. I think they need to see the pictures. If they'll pop up. Okay, so that was when That was well after, I believe, Hurricane Isabel. I believe that was done, that was flood from Ernesto, okay? Then you see the picture on the right, okay? That building had been rebuilt from Hurricane Isabel because it used to have a flat roof on it. And I believe Mr. Valdricky and his dad with some funds, insurance funds and funds of their own, went in and fixed the building and put the gable roof on. You can move on. Okay, the picture on the left is the one from Mr. Bowen, stating that that was the condition that was claimed that it was left in. The picture on the right is the actual condition, and you can see down at the lower left-hand portion of this picture, there's countertops in there. If you look at the picture on the left, the countertops are gone. You can move forward. Now we're showing the electrical panels in there. And oh, by incidentally, did you get a clarification? We still have an outstanding electrical permit over there that never got a final on it? Is that correct?
There is outstanding electrical, but I didn't
Thank
get
you.
confirmation.
Thank you. Okay.
I spoke with the building official about 3 weeks ago, and it was outstanding at the time.
At the
There were
time.
2 outstanding electrical
And
permits.
how long have they been outstanding?
A while.
Okay, thank you. You can move on. On the right, you see a picture of the condition of the building when Mr. Galuzzi left it. If you look through the doorway, you can see the countertop in the back. I know I ate there many times. On the left, I believe the claim was that the carpet was pulled up and that was mold. Well, there's no more mold on that floor than the one where the tile has been pulled up under your feet right now. Okay? I've been a contractor for 35 years and I know mold. That's not mold. All that is discoloration from whatever floor had been there previously. Okay? When the mitigation was done, when the building flooded, a full mitigation was done to get the mold out of the building. And I believe Mr. Valdricky will speak to that because he's the one that worked on it. Can you come again, please? We have any more pictures there? Oh, that is the trailer that Mr. Casal had using for his demolition at the time. And up in the left-hand corner, you'll see damages from Hurricane Isabel. As I said, the building had a flat roof on it. That was the extent of the damage. It was severely damaged in that storm, okay? And of course, you can see that. So the Valdrickys had a lot of investment into that building, rebuilding that thing. And I do believe all they got was about $33,000. The rest came out of their own pocket. And he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was that's what I was led to believe. Okay, what's next? That's just more of the same. One's before, one's after. Mr. Bowen's presentation is misleading in an attempt to make it appear that the condition of the premises was much worse than Mr. Casal signed the lease. Just let me make sure that y'all understand something. The lease didn't get signed till November of that year. There was no lease on that building at the time that this demolition took place. Mr. Casal didn't sign the lease till later. Mr. Casal signed the lease to make it appear that he invested money. In fact, the condition shown in Mr. Bowen's picture is damage created by Mr. Casal. He got, as it says, Mr. Wilkes, the former building official, issued him a demolition permit. So I hope this clears that matter up, okay? The Galuzzis did nothing wrong. The Valdrickys didn't do anything wrong. Mr. Galuzzi left that building in good order when he left. And he was notified by the newspaper that they weren't going to extend his lease. So anyway, so for someone to say that none of this has ever happened before, it happened to this guy. Thank you.
Board members, do we have anything else? Mr. Wall?
Yes, sir. I'm just going to reiterate what I'd said on the last meeting. Buoy number 4 has now been deployed at the hole in the wall. It is in its correct location. And again, I'd like to thank the fire department for what they did at the boat docking. That was better this year than it was last year. And finally, I'd like to say, Mr. Bowen, I don't appreciate you lying to me in front of 200 people. You owe me an apology.
Okay, guys, all right. Let's keep it civil. Anyone else?
Yes, very quickly.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
the Board of Supervisors liaison for the market days. And I just want to remind, oh, can't hear me? Is that better? Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. Anyway, for the market days, and am I assuming comments are not just for the hole in the wall? Correct. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The Market Days Committee, they have a new event this year called Matthews, Miss Matthews, and they're having 3 tiers, and that's going to be on August the 8th. So look for the times and so forth. That's a new event, it's a fundraiser. And I also want to speak a little bit on the history of the 384 Ferry Road, Twig Ferry Road. I've been reading so much in Facebook about how this property came to be, the part of the county. And some people say it was given to the county, some people say it was left to the county, and so forth. And I was curious about that, so I went back and looked at the deed, and I also looked at some old newspaper clippings. So what I learned, just for everybody's information, because once you say it on Facebook, it gets repeated, and then before long, everybody believes that's truth. The land was purchased by Matthews County from the Fosters in 1957. It was not given. And in that deed, there was no mention of it being for public access. What was mentioned in, it was on the plat that it identified the property as the property purchased by the Board of Supervisors for public access. So the plat did say that, but the deed did not. The minutes of the Board of Supervisors for that time said, yes, they purchased that land with the intent that half of it, or approximately half of it, would be used for water access, the other half to be used for other purposes or sold. So that was the way it came to the Matthews County. The county subsequently leased it to the Gwynns Island Civic League with an option to buy. The Civic League worked with the Department of Fisheries, Game and Fisheries, to put in the ramp and the county. And the Gwynns Island Civic League also built the Sea Breeze. Well, the Gwynns Island Civic League decided that they would like to exercise their option to buy, and the county refused. So it went into litigation, not the first time. So it went into litigation, and the county prevailed, and it was settled. The county and the Sea Breeze was purchased from the Civic League in a quitclaim deed for $30,000. So that's the history of the property we're talking about. It wasn't given, it wasn't left in a will, it's where it was, just FYI.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Mr. Bowen?
So the email that I'm referring to, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay. It shows FWEXT. Judy, do you see that? Anyway, it's a email from the Virginia State Bar. And let me pull it up here. I have my law license. I've always had a law license after graduating from law school. I have never had my law license revoked or taken away at any time in my life. What I did, which is what many people do when they retire, is they transfer their status with the state bar to retired. And what that does, it means that I don't have to pay bar dues, and I don't have to take continuing legal education classes each year. So if I wanted to represent a person, I would have to take it out of retired status. But the license is still there the whole time. And that's what, I don't know if you can pull it up, Judy, but that's what the email says. I'll read it to you. When I retired, it was my understanding I would retain my law license but could not practice law as long as I was in retired status. So I asked them 3 questions. Do I still possess a Virginia State Bar license in Virginia? The answer is yes. However, you are a retired member class. Am I in good standing with the Virginia State Bar? Yes. Is my class with the Virginia State Bar retired? Yes. Now, the question that was asked by Mr. Walls just a minute. Quote, Mr. Bowen, are you still a licensed attorney? And I said, yes, I am. So that, I was a licensed attorney, still am a licensed attorney. I just, well, you need to understand what you're talking about, Mike, before you start calling someone a liar. And I would appreciate both you and David complying with the code of ethics that this board adopted. Now, I know both of you, I know neither of you voted for that, but the code of ethics on page 12 says you're not to, let me pull it up here. Okay, item 12 of the Code of Ethics for Matthews County. Avoid using the position of public trust to criticize colleagues or citizens by impugning their integrity. Conduct all business in a professional and courteous manner. And I asked the board chairman to enforce that as well. Now, Judy, are you able to pull up the pictures that I presented at the last meeting? Okay. Well, they're online. Anybody can access them as part of the board documents. And what you'll see under each of the photographs is, no, that's David's photographs. I'm talking about my photographs.
I just knew that was the easiest way to get to some of them.
My documents are in the board documents. Yes.
I'd like to speak to something
Wait
real
a minute,
quick.
David. Let me
Okay,
finish.
While
let
while
Mr.
they're waiting.
We'll let Mr. Bowen finish, Mr. Jones.
It's under other. All right, come on down. Do you see the photographs? All right, show the caption underneath the photographs. At the time of the lease to hole in the wall, go to the next photograph. At the time of the lease to hole in the wall, and the next photograph. At the time of the lease to hole in the wall. Now, and that at the time of the lease to hole in the wall, I never said or insinuated that this was the condition of the building when the Galuzzi's lease terminated. The lease to Matt Casal was signed in November. The Galuzzi lease ended in June of that year. This building had sat vacant for 5 months. It's my understanding there was storm damage, And this is the results of what you saw of a building that I doubt, I don't know, but may not have had the air conditioning on. And it was in disrepair, not a reflection on any of the previous owners, but from the storm damage. And that is why the county, part of the reason why the county wanted the building raised. The other reason to get it raised was to get it out of the floodplain and get lower flood insurance.
Is that all, Mr. Bowen? Mr. Jones?
I had asked the county attorney to look into your status, so I wouldn't be accusing you of something that was wrong. And, Ms. Attorney, could you explain to them what they told you at the bar?
I called, the ethics hotline, or, where they call you back. And I received a return call from Emily, who is one of the supervisors. And I asked her specifically, I had her pull up your status. And I said, is someone who is in retired status and eligible for reinstatement, can they say that they are licensed to practice law?
I'm going to correct you right there. That was not the question. The question was, am I a licensed attorney? It wasn't, am I licensed to practice law?
I don't understand the distinction.
There is a distinction. You don't, and it's in the email.
I haven't seen the email.
You lose your license for disciplinary reasons, things of that nature, or you can give it up.
Right.
But if you don't want to give it up and you want to retire, you change the class. You're not giving up your license, you're just changing the class to retired.
Well,
And that's what the email says.
that is not what the state bar said to me. And I have another friend who's a retired attorney previously that I wanted to see if he would be interested in doing some legal work. And he said, I cannot. I don't have a license. I, have not kept up with the CLE, and I would have to take all the CLE in order to be reinstated in order to perform legal work. So that's what I know.
Okay,
Well, I'm glad we resolved this monumental problem that's facing Matthews County.
okay.
It speaks to your character, sir. You're splitting hairs.
Okay, all right, come on. Come on. Let's keep it, come on. Let's keep it professional, board members, please.
Point of order.
I just asked the board members to keep it professional. Thank you. Board members, do you have any other comments? Okay, the comments that I have tonight. Just 1 second. October, I'm already wishing it was October. I'm telling you. August 5th, the Sheriff's National Night Out. Am I correct, Sheriff? 4 to 7? Okay. Unfortunately, I will be in a dunk tank at some time. So if you miss me, awesome. But anyways, I would ask that you turn out. It's a good event. They do very good things. So I would ask if you can make it, to please make it. The Sheriff's Office works very hard with that. And board members, Ms. Wilson asked to make a comment during my supervisor comments.
Thank you, Chairman Doss. So there was some information that was in the packet, in the board packet and online, if you want to go and read it. So the title of it is Clarifications and Corrections to Tom Bowen's July 17th, 2025 Hole in the Wall Closure Presentation. So the information in here has been verified with emails, invoices, and county records. It's not just an opinion. And some of it is not necessarily saying Mr. Bowen is wrong. It's just elaborating on what was presented, just to give the rest of the story. So I'm going to read the comments. It's a little bit lengthy, so if I run out of time, I may ask another board member to continue. But I will also say that Mr. Bowen, Mr. Doss, Ashley Hubbard, and I met and talked about this already. So it's nothing that Mr. Bowen is, I'm not blindsiding him with anything. So he's aware of what's in here. So I'm going to start with Mr. Bowen's comment. He said, Matthews County failed to provide Cassell with an accurate invoice, did not provide answers to any of his inquiries, and did not respond to him after June 20th as promised by the county. And this is the response. 3 accurate invoices. 1, flood insurance and rent. 2, construction reimbursement. And 3, pump and haul, 75% reimbursement. They were all sent to Mr. Cassell on June 2nd, as June 1st fell on a Sunday. These invoices were completed with the information given to the county staff and what is stated in the lease agreement. The time frame for a response was provided to Mr. Cassell by county staff per direction of the Board of Supervisor Chair. It was decided it would be necessary to get through the June 18th board meeting before a response could be provided. County staff was nothing more than a messenger to the county attorney and the Board of Supervisors Chair and Vice Chair. All 3 were copied on any correspondence regarding a response to Mr. Cassell's inquiries. The next statement from Mr. Bowen was Matthews County was not legally required pursuant to the lease to provide an invoice to Hole in the Wall for rent or to notify Hole in the Wall that rent was due. The county, however, for the past several years has engaged in the informal process of sending invoices to Cassell in late May or early June for rent, pump and haul, and expenses, flood insurance, and other items that have been billed to the county. With the new administration staff coming on in late 2021 and early 2022, we cannot speak to or find evidence as to how lease invoices were handled prior to our arrival. However, we cannot find where a lease invoice was ever sent to Mr. Cassell or the Hole in the Wall in 2022. It is not custom for us to send lease invoices to any other tenants of county-owned buildings, only invoices for reimbursement of utilities. This year's rent was, however, paid on time. In 2023, Mr. Cassell reached out to the accounting analyst on June 1st, requesting the total due for pump and haul, nothing about the rent. When he was told we were gathering that total to try include all of May, he said, okay, thank you, but I'm going to come in and pay the yearly rent today. If you can get it to me before I come in to pay the rent, then I will come back and pay it tomorrow or Monday, depending on when you get me those final tallies. Thank you. A short time later, he was sent an invoice for pump and haul, an invoice for flood insurance reimbursement, and supporting docs for the rent adjustment based on the CPI as allowed in the lease. He was not sent an actual invoice for the lease, the rent payment. He came in later that afternoon and paid all three amounts in full by one check. On May 30th, 2024, the account analyst sent one bill encompassing the rent, flood insurance, billed for in April, and the pump and haul reimbursement amount. Mr. Cassell came in the following day and paid the full amount. The next comment by Mr. Bowen was it reasonable for Cassell to rely on these past informal practices, and particularly the representations by Matthews County to provide a corrected invoice by June 20th before making payment to the county, so he would know what the correct amount was to pay? Mr. Cassell has never received any inclination from the Matthews County admin team regarding lease payments for anything more or less than what is stated in the lease. He did, however, note on his dispute to the June 2nd billing, since we are trying to work out an arrangement with the county, it has been decided that we will pay the rent for the first quarter, which will hopefully give the county enough time to put the time in that it will take to put this matter to bed once and for all. So this part of my bill should be $2,218.50. Thank you. We would like to be clear that neither the accounting analyst nor the county administrator were privy to this agreement or decision. As far as we were aware, Mr. Cassell was given the correct amount to pay on all items, including the lease. This year, the county emailed Cassell an invoice on June 2nd. This is Mr. Bowen's comment, sorry. This year, the county emailed Cassell an invoice on June 2nd for the next year's rent, the flood insurance premium, pump and haul reimbursements for the septic tank, and other items. Cassell responded by email the next day pointing out errors in the pump and haul amounts. Cassell said he would make payment in full that same week once the pump and haul billing errors were corrected. The county responded to that email on June 10th by apologizing for the late response and stating it was taking longer than expected to correct the pump and haul errors. The accounting analyst emailed 3 invoices on June 2nd for the temporary support construction fix to be reimbursed, originally sent in March of 2025 with no response, 1 for June 2024 through February 2025 pump and haul, and 1 for the flood insurance reimbursement and annual rent. Mr. Cassell's response on June 3rd did include concerns regarding the amount to be paid for pump and haul. The accounting analyst had been sending pump and haul reimbursement bills as well as corrections to billing errors made by pump and haul contractor since July 31st, 2024, and had heard nothing of Mr. Cassell's concerns until June 3rd, 2025. By this point, the accounting analyst had spent an exorbitant amount of time combing through bills to save the county and Mr. Cassell any unnecessary expenses. He also disputed payments of the work done by Morris Enterprise based on comments made by board members at previous meetings that the accounting analyst was unaware of. The accounting analyst was specifically asked to bill the tenant in February, March for this expense reimbursement, and the tenant made no dispute about this with the accounting analyst until this reminder bill. Mr. Cassell's exact reply regarding the lease amount was shared earlier in this document. The county never stated in the June 10th reply email that it was taking longer than expected to correct the pump and haul errors. The accounting analyst said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Cassell. Please excuse the delay in response, as there were several things you presented with us to look into. The county will have a response to you addressing your concerns by Friday, June 20th. Please reach out with any additional questions or concerns. Thank you." On July 1st, Cassell, this is Mr. Bowen, on July 1st, Cassell sent a second request to the county asking if he could come to the county office and pay the amount due. He pointed out that he had not received a response from the county by June 20th as promised by the county. The county did not respond to this email. When the county admin team reached out to the county attorney, the Board of Supervisors Chair and Vice Chair on June 20th to find out how we would be responding to Mr. Cassell's disputes, we were asked if a phone call the following Monday would be okay. The phone call was accepted, and Monday, June 23rd, the accounting analyst was told the county attorney would be handling things with the hole-in-the-wall attorney. The accounting analyst was later forwarded an email that the county attorney had sent to the hole-in-the-wall attorney, initiating contact on the matters at hand. When the July 1st email was received from Mr. Cassell, the accounting analyst forwarded the email along to the county attorney, Board of Supervisors Chair and Vice Chair, with her concerns, to which the board chair responded he had spoken with the county attorney regarding a response. On July 8th, the county attorney sent an email to the accounting analyst for Matthews County and advised her to continue to send invoices to Hole in the Wall for pump and haul costs to the county, as the county had in the past. The county, however, never sent a new invoice. As late as July 8th, the correct amount to bill for pump and haul was still undetermined, and the county was unable to send a corrected invoice to Cassell. That was Mr. Bowen's. County staff received instructions from the county attorney to do what we normally do in regard to pump and haul at 1:03 on July 8th. The accounting analyst requested information from the Board of Supervisors Chair on what exactly that meant and received that confirmation about 1:45 that day. The accounting analyst was unable to finalize the additional 5 months of accurate 75/25 billing prior to the time the Board of Supervisors decided to terminate the lease. As was noted prior, we have had billing issues since the summer of 2024 with the pump and haul contractor. Producing these bills for the hole in the wall is very time-consuming and has to be done on top of the many other tasks of our accounting analyst. Mr. Bowen said on July 9th, Cassell sent a third request to the county indicating for the third time he could come to the county office and pay the amount due. He pointed out that he had not received a response from the county by June 20th as promised, and that he had received no response whatsoever from the county since their June 10th email 1 month earlier. Below is the entirety of what Mr. Cassell's July 9th email to the accounting analyst, Board of Supervisors Chair and Vice Chair stated. And this is Mr. Cassell's email. On June 3rd, I emailed the county my version of what was discussed early in May and what I felt I owed for Hole in the Wall Restaurant. You apologized for taking a while to respond back to me, and your response stated you'd get back to me on June 20th after your review. I did not hear back on the 20th, so I sent you another email on July 1st checking again and requesting information so that I could come in and pay the county. Consistent with my lease and the addendum, I remain willing to pay the county what I truly owe. I can pay immediately the amount which is itemized below. I look forward to hearing from you and the county. Thank you, Matt Cassell. Itemized, $15,763.01, June through November 2024, 75% pump and haul. FY25 flood insurance for 384 Old Ferry Road, $917. The rent for the first quarter, as discussed, which will hopefully give the county enough time to sell the property, $2,218.50. The total, $18,898.50. We would like to point out that Mr. Cassell references something discussed in May and what he felt was owed for hole in the wall. The county admin staff was not made aware of any discussions, nor were they a part of any discussions with Mr. Cassell. Prior to June 2nd billing, the last time the admin team heard from Mr. Cassell was when he paid the FY25 rent, the FY24 flood insurance, and the FY24 pump and haul reimbursement in May 2024. All right, I'm going to read the last, now this is the last statement that we're going to address, and the response that I'm going to read is from the accounting analyst. This is Mr. Bowen. He said, "The buck stops with the Board of Supervisors. If a county employee misinforms a citizen, the county administrator or the Board of Supervisors should accept responsibility for the misinformation and take appropriate steps to correct the problem. Here, both a county employee and the county attorney made inaccurate statements, and no one took corrective action. If a similar situation occurred in a business, I believe the owner or manager of the business would allow the customer to make payment without penalty. In this case, Cassell on multiple occasions indicated he was willing to make payment to the county, but at no time did the county respond to him with the correct amount to pay the county." And this is the county employee's response. This is a direct statement from the county employee who feels the vague description of the county used throughout Mr. Bowen's document was wildly misrepresenting the work that the county employees have put into sorting through things regarding this property that began before most of the county admin staff was even there. A county employee has taken great offense to the misleading statement above. I believe at no point have I misinformed anyone regarding the hole in the wall. I provided a date given to me by the Board of Supervisors for a response, and that date was not met by the Board of Supervisors, even after I took it upon myself as the messenger to remind the county attorney, Board of Supervisors chair and vice chair that we owed a response by that date. As the accounting analyst, I take pride in the work I do and the team I am part of that extends outside of the administration office. I have only ever acted at the direction of the Board of Supervisors through this controversy and always confirm and clarify with my supervisor, the county administrator. In the eyes of this employee, it seems that there have been many half-truths or altogether untruths shared, however unintended they may have been. I would like it to be clear that they do not seem to come from any current county employees. I know of human imperfection, just as well as I know that grace is the greatest thing that can be shared with us. I will happily own any missteps that I could have taken in this matter by providing the whole truth. The question I have is, how about everyone else? Thank you.
Mr. Bowen?
So for those of you who want to go back and see exactly what was said, you can watch it at last board's meeting. It's on video. I never said that the clerk did anything wrong. I pointed out the emails where she tried to point out that, hey, it's coming up on the 20th of June and we should respond, and it was taken out of her hands by her superior. She then responds towards the end of June, July 1, I'm not sure the exact date at this point, again saying, I was afraid this email from Mr. Cassell was going to come in, we needed to respond, and we didn't. Again, it was taken out of her hands. She did everything she possibly could, and she did a good job. And I'll address that in a minute because I sent her an email immediately after the meeting, and I'll read that to you in just a second. There are 3 emails for the year 2025, 2024, 2023, where the county billed Mr. Casal for the pump and haul and the rent. And I have those. I think you probably have seen them. I also have an email from you, Ramona, to Ashley Hubbard dated July 13, 2022 at 10:11 a.m. Says, Ashley, can you please send Mr. Casal any outstanding bills owed to the county for the hole-in-the-wall waterfront grill? It appears he has received duplicate invoices, and there is some confusion about what he is owed. So clearly,
Into that?
you.
Because
you
it's
let
out
me-
of context. It's out of context
Well,
because
you can respond when, after I finish. I'll let you go. So it's clear that the county has, over the years, sent Mr. Casal invoices, whether it's for pump and haul, flood insurance, or other items. And to try to insinuate that they haven't is very misleading. And then what I want to finally do is read a portion of the email that I sent to the clerk. This was sent out on Thursday, July 17th at 11:58 p.m. after I had gotten home from the board meeting. Some board members tonight accused me of throwing you under the bus and accused me of blaming you for not providing a corrected invoice to Mr. Casal. I do not believe that's what I said, and that certainly was not my intention. And if you have any questions, you all can look at the video to see that's not what I said. I printed your emails verbatim so that it was clear that you were simply waiting on a response from the board or the county attorney. And every time you tried to send an invoice, you were told to wait. It was not your fault that the corrected invoice was not sent. I believe the supervisors made the wrong decision by closing the restaurant, but the worst decision was taking that action without going to court and getting a court order first. That has the potential of greatly increasing the damages to Matthews County. That is the point I was ultimately trying to make tonight. If you somehow thought I was upset with you and what you did, please realize that is not the case. To the contrary, I thought it showed your initiative and concern in a difficult situation to bring to the attention of your supervisors that you had not responded by June 20, which was the date he had been told by you that the county would respond. You were trying to do what I consider was the right thing. Thank you for all you do. You did a good job. So I have never insinuated that the clerk did anything wrong. I applaud what she did. She was bringing to her supervisors and board members, hey, we need to respond, and we haven't. And one of the main points I made the other night, and it hadn't been changed by any of this, is that the Board of Supervisors, well, the clerk was directed by her supervisors to send a response telling Mr. Casal that they would respond by June 20th, and they never did after that.
Which ones? Which supervisors?
It's
You'll
in,
have an opportunity to talk during citizen comment.
it's in the emails. You can see them very clearly. They're on the board documents from the 17th of this month, the last meeting. And if you have any further questions, you can FOIA them, but they're right there. You can see word for word what's been said.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to add that I did email and telephone in attempts to reach Mr. Normand, who's Mr. Casal's attorney, to discuss what Ms. Hubbard was having difficulty with. And I did not get a response from Mr. Normand at all until July the 10th. So I had hoped that those other amounts, the amounts other than the rent, that, we could work that out cooperatively. He is now indicating he would like to talk about that, so that will be good.
Okay, board members, Ms. Wilson, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, the July 13th, 2022 email that I sent to Ashley, asking because of the duplications, those were pump and haul invoices. At that point, July 13th, 2022, he paid his rent on time by June 1st. So because the question is the rent payment, and we have said, we never sent rent payments. We only sent pump and haul invoices and other expenses.
But you did send rent payments for the last 3 years, right?
No.
Okay, board members. Next on our, we're going to move forward. We're,
She's telling you she sent them for the last 3 years.
go ahead.
Yes, the rent invoice has been sent in '23 after he requested pump and haul total, and we were increasing the rent amount. So I did it even though he didn't ask for one. In '24, I sent it all together. And in '25, I sent 3 separate invoices, if that's, my recollection is correct.
So for the last 3 years, the county has sent rent, invoices for rent and the other items. So let's just be clear.
All initiated differently, though.
Yeah, and I was talking about the invoice you were talking about was 2022, and that's what I was referring to. We did not send an invoice in 2022.
Okay, let's move forward. Next is the public hearing. Mr. Rard, please provide some background on this public hearing.
The board expressed an interest in possibly engaging a person or a firm to market the hole-in-the-wall property. In order to do that, you sign a listing agreement, which essentially commits you to selling the property. And under state law, the Board of Supervisors cannot commit to selling property without having a public hearing on whether or not to sell the property. My understanding is that there's been no commitment either way, but there was a desire to explore the potential for someone to assist with marketing. And so the public hearing that we are having tonight is on whether or not the county should sell the structure located at 384 Old Ferry or the property or any combination thereof to Mr. Casal or anybody else.
Chairman, real quick, I want to clarify. Just so that we understand, we are talking about the structure. We're not talking about property here. This says the structure. That was the motion on the floor that was so moved by Mr. Bowen. This says structure. So I don't want anybody to be misunderstood that this is any property that goes with it. This clearly states structure, okay? No more, no less.
Board members, do you have any further questions or comments for Mr. Rard?
I'm concerned because I think in discussions, it was always considered that it would be the structure with the postage stamp of the land beneath it.
What Mr. Jones is referring to is that when we came out of closed meeting and I proffered a motion, I specifically did say the structure. I didn't mean just the structure, but that is literally what I said. I did intend the postage stamp under it, or, I know that there's been interest expressed about buying the whole property, so.
Well, since people are here for a public hearing, can we make it clear how this is, or do they?
I think people are free to express their opinion about anything relating to the sale of the hole in the wall.
I'm here for the structure. That's what's on here, and that's the motion that was put forward. Structure only.
So just so that I'm clear, if we decide to sell as a postage stamp, because of the way that it was worded, it would require another public hearing? Is that correct? That's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking.
I would want to do some research on that, sir, before I give
Okay.
you an answer.
Okay. Okay. Board members, do you have anything else for Mr. Ard?
I'd like to move forward with the public hearing.
Mrs. Wilson, do we have any written comments for this public hearing?
We do. We have 2 written comments that I will read. The first one is from Captain David Callis, P.O. Box 324, Gwen, Virginia. I am concerned about the possible sale of our property that exists under the Hole in the Wall restaurant. I am afraid that construction practices and the safe condition of the building may be suspect, and that there may be future liability going forward regarding the trading in good faith. We know the septic system is a failed one. To allow this to likely continue to contaminate local oyster beds with every northeast tide is unconscionable. The property has severely lost its intent to provide access to our local public waters. Parking will forever be a conflict. The man is evidently $64,800 in violation of our contract. This property was taken from the previous tenant in suspect fashion. And then the second public comment is Paul Gibson, and I don't have an address, I just have an email address, bayrunner326@gmail.com. Good evening, members of the Board of Supervisors and the citizens of Matthews County and interested parties pertaining to the former Hole in the Wall restaurant on Gwen's Island. I am making my comments known virtually as I have a terminal disorder and wheelchair accessibility in the county buildings are cumbersome at best. The county and the citizens are well aware of the structure and septic issues at the former Hole in the Wall restaurant. All you have to do is take a look underneath the structure, and you will see that parts of it at least are not constructed to code. The structure should have never been lifted and turned into a much larger facility than what was previously there. The septic system cannot support the stress of a fully operational kitchen and restroom facilities. This is obvious by the number of breaches of the septic system, emptying brown and black water into the waterways of the Chesapeake Bay on numerous occasions. There should not be an opportunity to sell this property back to the original leasee. They have shown a total disregard to our tax monies and have demonstrated poor judgment regarding our precious waterways, which are far more valuable than one more restaurant. Furthermore, there is not enough public water access for motorized watercraft in Matthews County as it is. The county has only 2 launches for motorized watercraft with very limited parking. How can the county justify less than 30 parking spaces divided between 2 public boat launches to support a county of nearly 9,000 citizens and multiple vacation rental properties? The privately owned and operated visitor center is touting our public water access and beaches after all. The property discussed tonight should be turned into a boat ramp with ample parking for the citizens of Matthews County and to the public. There should be no other option, in my opinion, other than to be good stewards and representations of the people of Matthews County as you sit before the county tonight as members of the Board of Supervisors and vote no to allowing a restaurant back into the former Hole in the Wall facility. Tear it down, empty the septic systems one last time, and be done with it. Oh, Paul Gibson, Mob Jack, Virginia.
Okay, I'll now read the procedures for the conduct of the public hearing. Speakers are limited to 1 opportunity of 3 minutes. Each speaker shall open his or her remarks by giving their name and mailing address for the public record. Speakers cannot assign time in whole or in part to other speakers. Board members may not interrupt any speaker for questions or clarification. Speakers' remarks shall only be directed towards the topics of the public hearing. Materials submitted for review and for consideration by the board must be submitted to the clerk for entry into the proceedings. I will now open the public hearing. Mrs. Green, do we have any speakers signed up? You could go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The first speaker is Jeff Valdrigi.
My name is Jeff Valdrigi, 5015 Buckley Hall Road, Cobbs Creek. I've lived in Matthews County full-time since 1979. Let's see. In the 34 years my parents owned the Seabreeze, only 2 times did it incur flooding. First time was Hurricane Isabel in September of 2003. As we all remember, the historic flooding that occurred in most of Matthews County. And the second time was Tropical Storm Ernesto in September of 2006. Ernesto created minor flooding of about 2 to 3 inches of water inside the dining room, but no significant damage. The carpeting was replaced, no other water damage was incurred in the building. I believe raising this building was beneficial, but not necessary to continue operating the restaurant. I was personally there on June 30th, 2016, when Mr. Galuzzi removed his personal property from the building. There was no mold or mildew present as shown in the pictures. There was no physical, structural, or electrical damage anywhere in the building. Everything was done in a professional manner so as not to damage the county property. Let's see. In my opinion, the county should not sell 1 inch of this property. The property has not been owned by an individual since 1957, and the building has not been owned by an individual since it was built in 1964. If the building and the land it sits on were to be sold by the county, as Mr. Bowen has proposed, then the Gwynns Island Civic League should have first refusal above anyone else. However, to sell just the building and the land under it would set a bad precedent by the county. It would leave the entrance, parking, and well on a separate piece of property, which is just a horrible idea. Selling the whole parcel of land, building, and ramp would be a catastrophic loss to the citizens of Matthews. I also do not wish to see the restaurant closed and torn down, as some have suggested. My wife and I have been to the Hole in Wall on several occasions, and we've always enjoyed it. We desperately need businesses in Matthews County to up our tax base. There must be a solution other than these 2 options that will keep the restaurant open, the land public, and keep the operation of the restaurant out of my taxpayer dollars. While it may be legal for the Board of Supervisors to sell the property, I believe it should be left to the citizens of Matthews County to vote by referendum in November. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Green, next.
Fred Line. Lee Dawson.
Thank you. I'm Lee Dawson. I live in the Tech Neck area of Foster. I feel kind of goofy because I'm not sure which I'm getting ready to speak of, the building or the land under the building or both. However, since I'm here, I absolutely oppose selling the property as is and where is. It is perhaps the most valuable piece of commercial property in Matthews County, and this will be a fire sale with no fire. I'm even more opposed to a negotiated non-competitive sale with anybody, period. When any prospective buyer performs due diligence on this property, this is what they're likely going to discover. We don't even know who built the building. Permits were pulled by a landscaping contractor and a few subs. The county was absent during construction, and I'm even more opposed, and I suspect any serious buyer will have concerns. 2 engineering firms have surveyed the structural issues, and both have said that they existed post-occupancy. One recommended that we close the building. Any buyer is going to be concerned about that. The building is in violation of Virginia Health Department regs, and VDH is not going to allow occupancy without a remedy to the septic system issue. Capital cost to install permanent pump and haul, and the monthly expense to actually pump and haul will dramatically reduce any bid. The property will virtually be covered by easements. The entire septic, parking spaces, ingress and egress will be under easements. Enforcement brings uncertainty, and there's the boat trailers. In its current condition, any bids will represent pennies on the dollar. You're virtually going to give away, in its current condition, the most valuable piece of property in Matthews County. You're going to lose control over it forever. You're going to watch it get flipped. because you can't figure out how to correct a failed septic system and have gotten yourself tangled up in some kind of off-the-record negotiations with the current tenant. And in my opinion, you're simply not ready, nor are you able to manage a fair, equitable sale of the property. You're fighting with yourselves. It lasted an hour at the beginning of this meeting. And at the same time, this is simply not the time to deal with the complexities of a sale of this nature. My suggestion is table this indefinitely until, number one, you can work side by side with each other. Number two, the legal case or cases are settled and we know we still have a binding lease. And number three, you can come before us with a well-developed action plan which details the marketing approach you'll take that you can expect.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Ms. Green?
Richard Hicks.
Richard Hicks, North Virginia. So here's some information you might want to consider concerning Hole in the Wall. C.W. Hudgens, the contractor of record for Hole in the Wall several years ago, has had his contractor's license revoked and has been fined by the state board last month. It seems he knowingly allowed one Matt Casal to use his contractor's license, that's CW's license, to get a permit to erect a structure at 410 North Bay Haven on Gwynns Island. This was in 2021 or so. Subject structure took a good 2 years to complete, but did not have some required inspections, and if I understand correctly, is not being used as it does not have a certificate of occupancy. The owner paid Mr. Casal almost $350,000 for this work. I can only assume that the owners of 410 North Bay Haven are not happy with Mr. Casal. And by the way, it was the above C.W. Hudgens that, as the contractor of record, got the building permit for the Hole in the Wall renovations remodel some 6 or 8 years ago. Work that was not done in accordance with approved drawings and resulted in building code and zoning violations, and that for whatever reason, the building inspector did not catch. Now, breaking news. C.W. Hudgens has now sworn that he did not authorize anyone to submit any building permit applications in his name for Hole in the Wall. In other words, someone forged his signature on the building permit application for Hole in the Wall. One does wonder who that might be, or if that's true. And there is now an investigation going on by the sheriff's office to determine just who did apply for the Hole in the Wall permit. I will remind listeners here that Mr. Casal was intimately involved with the construction work at Hole in the Wall, and even stated at the Zoning Appeals Board hearing 2 or maybe 3 years ago that he had, quote, verbal permission from both zoning and building to modify the Hole in the Wall design. A story that sadly was believed by some of the folks that are present this evening. And now another detail. In addition, I now know 2 contractors that say Mr. Casal owes them money. One is for $31,000 for the above-mentioned North Bay Haven job, and another who did work on the White Dog restaurant several years ago. So I wanted you to have this information as you consider what to do with Hole in the Wall. My recommendation on Hole in the Wall is that it should be maintained and even improved as a public water access and a place for citizens to launch and retrieve boats. And a new lease with hopefully a different tenant would be a smart. Thank you.
Ms. Green?
There's no more people signed up.
If anybody have comments, come to the podium. You just come up to the podium. Just say. If you want to speak at the podium, if you could line up, it'll make it quicker. That would be appreciated.
D. Russell, 276 Geyser Lane, Hudgens, Virginia. I'm going to tag on to Ms. Phillips' comments. I actually did also go to the county courthouse and pulled deeds for the and minutes from the previous board, and I'm just going to read a little small portion. It is ordered that William Clark Colborn, Commonwealth's attorney, be and he hereby is requested to examine the title to the said property, and if it is free from all defects, to then cause a survey to the said site to be made, at which time the members of the board will be present for the purpose of setting aside approximately 1/2 of the area for a public landing site, it being the opinion of the board that the remainder of the land acquired should be reserved by it for resale or other possible uses. So that's way back in April 24, 1957. I'm digging around in the books, and that's what it says. So the intent of the board in 1957 was to acquire that piece of property, give half of it for public access, and use the other half for another purpose. In this case, they permitted, and I'm using that word because it's in the next deed, the Board of Supervisors permitted the Civic Center, the Gwens Island Civic Center, to construct. I believe they didn't construct it. I actually think they barged it over from somewhere else, which is where the urban legend comes from, that it's sitting on a barge. It's not. It's sitting on the ground at that time. But they brought it over, and then at some point they decided, you know what, we don't want the responsibility of this, and they signed a piece of paper saying for $30,000, take it off our hands. And that's what happened. And then they turned around and leased it directly back to the Civic Center, but they no longer were responsible for the building per se. So when we're talking about what we need to do with this piece of property, I have suggested on several occasions that you actually sell the entire piece of property to the current owner because he has first right of refusal. And within that deed, gift back the exact same portion of the property that the original Board of Supervisors intended for public access. It can be a deed. Nobody has to worry that they're going to lose access to the water. And we can get out of this entire incredibly messy, disgusting, he said, she said, the pointing fingers, and let's make our community right. Let's do something smart for a change. Stop spending our money fighting something that doesn't need to be fought for. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Next.
Good evening. My name is Matt Jenkins. My mailing address is Box 391, Cobbs Creek. I'm a lawyer. I'm not here representing any client. I'm speaking for myself, not my law firm. Before you deal with the question of selling this property, you have to look at what the lease provides in terms of current rights. I know it's the county's present position that the lease is terminated. I believe that that position is incorrect. In order to terminate the lease, there would have had to have been a notice of default. A 30-day period would then have ensued during which the tenant could pay the rent to avert the default. Until that occurs, this lease remains in effect. And as it remains in effect, there is a right of first refusal in the tenant, coupled with a $126,000 purchase credit that I dare say would pose an obstacle to any other would-be purchaser of the premises. Either the demised premises or the property as those terms are used in the lease. My suggestion to the county to deal with this issue once and for all is probably not a popular one, but I'll share it with you. This property, as well as the Islander, is going to have a permanent septic system problem unless and until you run a sewer line across the water underneath the bridge and put these properties on an approved sewer system. You can't fix these septic problems in an area with a high water table like this, trying to deal with it without a valid sewer connection. It's just not going to work. Put a sewer line across, you solve the hole in the wall pump and haul costs, and you make the Islander property potentially developable for something other than what it presently is, which is not generating the county much in the way of tax revenue at all. Those are my thoughts.
Next. Do we have anyone else? Good evening, sir.
Hi, I'm William Bowen. I work at Hole in the Wall. I live in Topping, Virginia. I've been down here for 2 years. I didn't plan on this, so I'm winging it right now, but I want to speak for my friends and my family, actually, at Hole in the Wall. My family is what I want to talk about. You've heard a lot of people, a lot of single parents, a lot of people out of money with everything, and I think it's very ironic that we started the day with the Pledge of Allegiance, justice for all, when I see nothing but injustices done by you guys. All and the animosity between each of you guys. It's embarrassing to the youth here. It's embarrassing to everybody seeing y'all bicker back and forth like that. That bickering should be left behind closed doors, just like all the other deals that get done by the board. I'm done.
Anybody else? Mr. Clark?
Good evening. Albert Clark, 303 South Bay Haven, Hutchins, Virginia. I've been sitting here listening to this all night long, and several things have come to my attention. Who was at this meeting with Casal in May, that everybody keeps talking about, where he was getting this lucrative deal to buy this place? I'd really like to know this. I mean, this is my money. This is y'all's money. This is everybody in this room's money. Enough's enough of this. That man don't need to buy this place. We don't need to subdivide it. I feel for all these folks that do need the jobs. I want them to work, but not under a crook like what this gentleman evidently is. And it needs to be changed. Hey, it's my right to speak what I want.
Direct your
So-
comments to us. Thank you.
That's all I wanted to say.
Who else would like to speak?
My name is Tyrone Hudgens. I live at 1404 Old Ferry Road, Grimstead, Virginia. I didn't come up here tonight to talk. I didn't prepare speeches. My wife's gonna kill me for doing it. But anyway, this whole situation is bad. There's no doubt about it. But I can tell you, this boat ramp basically belongs to Gwynn's Island. Simple as it is, it's been Gwynn's Island for 50, 60, 70 years, and it needs to remain part of Gwynn's Island. As far as the restaurant, my personal feeling is sell it, but sell it at the open market. Don't just arbitrarily give it to who's got it now. There's a lot of money there. That building is worth lots of money. But we need to look at it closely and make the right decisions, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Yeah, we will close public comment at this time. Board members, any discussion in reference to tonight's public hearing?
I've heard a lot of good arguments on all sides. No, it's not a easy decision. I don't like being in this position no more than anybody, and I'm sure the tenant doesn't like being in this position, but it's where we're at. My opinion was, and I had spoken in the last meeting, that the easiest fix right now moving forward is for the county to tear those two leaky tanks out of the ground, fix the two tanks, cut back on the pumping hall, and put that building back out for lease at a cost that the county is no longer going to have to bear any money out of its coffers. So whatever that lease amount is for that to happen, that's one option. When Mr. Galuzzi was sent the letter from the county said, no, you're not in default. We're just gonna go ahead and put it out for RFP. So it's happened before, okay? That's happened, okay? So for anybody to say that that hasn't happened, it happened to him, okay? And Ms. Connor made a compelling argument, oh, by law, we need to put it out. It's been years since it's been put out for lease, okay? All right, so right now, the question is there a lease on the property or not? I'm gonna direct that, and I'm gonna ask our county attorney, right now, do we have a lease on the property or not? Sorry to put you there, but,
It's the second time tonight, Mr.
yeah, I know, I
Jones.
got you. Yeah, sorry. Transparency, you know, a lot of people ran on transparency. I just want, I'm trying to get as much transparency in, so these people know and understand where everything is at. Maybe that's one of the solutions we need to look at.
With all due respect to Mr. Jenkins, the county's position is that there is no lease at this time.
Okay.
However, that is in dispute as part of the litigation.
Sure, I understand. So at this point in time, until that's cleared up, okay, we're saying that there's no lease out there. As far as selling the structure, I believe that offer was made a long time ago. I would have no problem with selling the structure, picking it up, putting it on a barge and moving it out, cleaning the spot up and moving on from it. I believe Mr. Jenkins was talking about the sewer line. I don't know that if a lot of you know, but the Islander has a 10,000 gallon a day system that runs on its own. They don't need a sewer line. So the sewer line would have to run specifically for this one piece of property. So that's something to think about. So as this stands right now, whether y'all want to take into consideration the property under it, I'm not for selling it. Any part of it at this point in time. That's me.
Mr. Bowen?
Oh, we're not in any position to decide this tonight or probably any time in the next few months. The court hearing on the merits of the case is October 22, and if that doesn't change, then I think we have to at least wait till October 22 to hear what the judge says, whether there's a lease or there's not a lease. Tonight and on social media, there has been comments about the Islander. It is a beautiful piece of property, and if there's anything the board can do to help get the Islander up and running, I would encourage the owners or whoever has an interest in that to come to the board and discuss what they can do. The Islander and Hole in the Wall can certainly coexist, and both would generate income for the county. David's right. If Mr. Casal offered to buy it as is and take over all responsibility for the septic and sewer, that was one of the things that this board was interested in, because that's going to reduce costs significantly. It was estimated at our last meeting that if our pump and haul costs continue as they have been for the next 8 years, which is what would be left in the lease, if there is a lease, again, that has to be decided by the court, we may be looking at $400,000 just in pump and haul. So that's an expense that the county needs to consider whether to incur that or to avoid incurring that. And if the county is going to continue to maintain the property, David is correct. We have to at least get in there and start fixing it up. We have to replace the septic tanks and see what else. And it may be that replacing the septic tanks may dramatically lower the pump and haul costs. We believe that there's water infiltration in the septic tanks. The septic tanks, my understanding, are cinder block. They're not cast concrete. So with their age, we probably have groundwater seeping in, and we probably have effluent seeping out. But we don't know that, but that's something we definitely need to get a handle on if we're going to maintain ownership. So those are just some factors that we're looking at going forward.
Board members, Mr. Walls, Ms. Phillips?
Yes, sir. I just want to address Mr. Clark's question. And I can say, this board has not had in closed session or open session a discussion on Mr. Casal paying his rent quarterly.
Ms. Phillips, did you have any comments? I just have a question or clarification. One, I'd like to say I agree. I think we should start replacing the tanks as soon as we possibly can. I have a question in reference to the grant monies that have been spent on the property, be it if we ever decided to sell the building itself or postage stamp it or the entire lot. I think there was, is it 88,000? It's either 84,000 or 88,000 that was spent in CARES money.
It was 68,000 in ARPA money and 15,000 in COVID money. And that has to be, if we sell the building, that has to be paid back to the federal government.
Okay, so we'd have to pay, was it 83,000? Yes. Okay. Board members, I personally think that we should table this until, at least until October, until we get a decision. Can we-
You don't need to take any action.
Okay. That's fine, too. Are there any other comments from the board members?
Chairman, I agree that those tanks, we are obligated to mitigate damages. And right now, whether we have a lease or not, where's the pump and haul bill going to? Where's it going?
I wrote a letter to Mr. Normant within the last day or two, and I asked him what his proposal was to address the pump and haul. I have not heard back from him.
Okay, so one would state that logic, we're gonna be waiting till October, and I agree, I'm okay with that. If all this time, and I've said it a million times, this water infiltration into the tank is bad for any tenant that's in the building and bad for us, whatever your pump and haul agreement is. That needs to stop because we're hemorrhaging funds. I will give you an example, and I believe Mr. Tillage is in here. My biggest concern about the school and the oil use over there at the elementary school until we got those pipes fixed over there is those boilers were running 24/7. Now they're only kicking on as needed to heat the water in the summertime for the kitchen. And they will only kick on when it calls for heat this winter. They will shut off, but they were running 24/7. And I'm happy to say that we're saving a ton of money there. We have the same situation here. I'd like to see at the very least that we move forward with getting the tanks taken care of over there to stop the hemorrhaging. And maybe we can put some of this pump and haul business, it'll lessen the cost for everyone.
Do we have any other comments reference to public hearing? Ms. Phillips?
Just to follow up to that, Ms. Wilson, do you have an estimate of the cost of the tanks?
I think Mr. Bowen asked me to look this up, and when I was looking at those tanks, I was putting pumps in there to do remote drain field. But there's also concern with the equipment that has to get across that bridge. So there'll probably be a little bit elevated costs, but probably $30,000.
Any further comments? Okay, next on our agenda is the consent agenda.
Well,
Mr. Bowen?
do you feel fairly confident that $30,000 is going to cover the installation of the tanks?
Maybe the installation, but you still have the demo work. You have to take all those old
Right.
tanks out of there, and we have that notice of violation
Okay.
on the one tank.
I was inclined to make a motion tonight that we go forward with that, but can you try to work something up for us and get us some very specific figures? At the next meeting, I'd like to address this.
Yeah, I can actually get a contractor to look at it.
Anything further before we move forward? Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Do we have any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next are our reports and requests of boards. Mr., I know I'm going to say it wrong, Mr. Andrade. Did I get it right? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Get my glasses on. All right, good evening, Board. Staff report from the Department of Planning and Zoning. In their June 25th meeting, the Board of Zoning Appeals, excuse me, approved application 2025-00325 to allow for a 20 by 20 detached garage at 21 Pine Road in Gwen's Island. To date, they have not started construction on that. They have filled out an MOA to mitigate any environmental impact that 20 by 20 will happen into the RPA. On July 8th, the Planning Commission had several things going on. They heard public comments on the South Bay Haven property, heard public comments on the ordinance exempting Matthews County from zoning and subdivision requirements. And I think the impetus behind that was exactly the hole in the wall. So selling the hole in the wall of the building and the postage stamp under that would probably require some type of exemption from the county from its own ordinances. They request that staff make recommendations to the commission on the topics of agro-tourism and solar farms. Staff has requested the involvement of the county attorney, county administrator, the planning commission chair, and the director of planning and zoning, myself, in these recommendations to navigate any legal issues. Staff recommends adopting the Virginia Code without restrictions in reference to agritourism, and the Planning Commission to set an area or areas or create a zoning district to allow for solar farms by right. Again, we are requesting legal counsel on writing that ordinance or coming up with something that will work. The Planning Commission asked staff to send letters of violation in reference to application 3 CUP 17. That was a notice of violation for that one. I'll get to those in a minute. And to offer an extension through the conditional use permit to applications 3 CUP 18 and 3 CUP 20. These deal with people living in travel trailers. I am waiting on legal vetting for 3 CUP 17 to send them an NOV. With respect to 3 CUP 18, I did hear from the applicant. They are interested in extending their conditional use permit, but they didn't have for whatever reason, didn't have the funds or whatever, and I gave them an extra 30-day leeway there to come up with something. As far as 3 CUP 20, I've not heard from that applicant in spite of a letter going out. The Planning Commission also established a subcommittee to see what types of assistance is available for these affected people with respect to those expired CUPs. In an 8-0 vote in favor to recommend the Board of Supervisors to not issue special events permits in Matthews County. I'm not sure if you want to take that up in a public hearing. In an 8-0 vote in favor of a motion to seek outside counsel from an attorney not associated with the county and 60 days to research the issue on exempting Matthews County from its own ordinances. They're a couple of weeks into that. I'll have more to report to you.
Mr. Andrade, let me stop you right there.
Yes, sir.
Well, do y'all understand there's $0 in the zoning and our planning commission for any attorneys to be sought?
Well, just to be clear, that's right, but the request was as a result of the supervisors asking some way to subdivide the hole-in-the-wall property. And I hope I don't make the planning commission upset, but until we get closer to making a decision, I don't know that we should be spending tax dollars on a lawyer to address an issue that may not be an issue at all. So
Mr. Andrade, have you looked at the feasibility of subdividing that property from a planning perspective?
Wait, you would create a non-conforming structure within the
No,
RPA?
I mean, is it possible to subdivide a property where,
Where it's not non-conforming?
sir, no? Okay.
I can address that.
Okay.
So the property is 0.92 acres and it's zoned B1.
Right.
So it's already a non-conforming lot because it doesn't meet the minimum lot size for B1.
Or B1, okay.
So if we were to subdivide that, we would have to be exempt from, the county would have to be exempt from all zoning and subdivision requirements in order to subdivide it, making it more non-conforming.
Are you saying there's a 1 acre minimum?
And that's back to my point. The planning commission has asked for attorney, which that requires funds. And I do believe they have 0 funds for an attorney. And I agree 100% with Mr. Bowen. I think we need to pull that back from them. I don't need to know if we need to do that by vote.
You can't.
Well,
By law, the planning commission is required to make a recommendation about a proposed ordinance. If they don't do so within the timeframe established in the Code of Virginia, then it will automatically travel back to the board for consideration. And
Good
it will
enough.
be deemed recommended.
very good. Sounds good.
Okay, yes, and lastly, number 8, in a 7-to-1 vote in favor of a motion to hold a public hearing with respect to South Bay Haven, and that kind of preempts y'all's resolution 2025-22, which be it resolved by the Matthews County Board of Supervisors that the Matthews County Planning Commission is to, 1, direct to make the determination as required by Virginia Code 15.2-2232, whether or not the location of the property or the park on the property owned by Matthews County, commonly known as South Bay Haven, is substantially in accordance with the Matthews County Comprehensive Plan. 2, shall conduct a public hearing, which you're going to do on August 12th. Conduct a public hearing in accordance with Virginia Code 15.2-2204. Prior to making the determination of whether a park at South Bay Haven is in accordance with the comprehensive plan. And 3, to promptly report those results to you folks. That's all I've got.
Board members, do we have any questions for Mr. Andrade?
I have some comments because I believe that some of the citizens on South Bay Haven are pursuing some definitions and some guidance regarding the FEMA mitigation of that piece of property and have asked for an extension if possible.
Ms. Wilson?
Yeah, they've also asked for a contact, and I will get that contact. We don't have a contact at FEMA, but we have a contact at VDEM who works through them. So I will get them that information.
Board members, just to clarify, reference to the citizens at South Bay Haven, there's a group that is requesting to potentially buy the property. They would have to honor the FEMA requirements, so they've asked for a delay before we make a decision in reference to that. And I, for one, board members, am good with giving that delay to see if they're able to work something out. But we can discuss that at a later time if you like.
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of things. One is that I'm not aware of any violation and would ask the opportunity to review the facts of that before you might move forward. You certainly can move forward with a notice of violation as to the property because the zoning action took effect when the board voted on it, and so the conditions would be what occurred during the meeting. As to the agritourism, I am not able to just write something up. Agritourism is a very sophisticated topic. I have worked with planners who have expertise in that area, and usually what they do is they draft something up, and then if they have specific legal questions, then I answer those legal questions. I think that was everything. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Mr. Bowen?
This is my personal opinion. The current zoning requirement for B1 waterfront business is minimum lot size of 1 acre. I think that makes no sense in this day and age. It stifles economic development. And Gloucester, I just referenced Gloucester County, who recently went through this process. And they have removed minimum lot sizes for business waterfront. And what they've done instead, they've put up like a checks, like how are you going to handle septic? How are you going to handle water? How are you going to handle parking? And they address it that way. But if you think about it, if we want any waterfront business development in the county and we require them to buy a minimum of 1 acre of land, and certainly some other counties, I know Gloucester doesn't require that. I haven't checked to see about Middlesex and other counties nearby, but I just think our zoning ordinance is out of date, and if we don't take a serious look at it, I think we're at an economic disadvantage, and so I plan to ask Billy Cook to take a look at that in the Planning Commission.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Appreciate it. Ms. Rowe, I just need to ask Mr. Rard a question real quick before we get started. When we amended the agenda, I called staff earlier in the day to let them know what the suggestions, the recommendations would be. The resolution that we have in the budget pack was part of that, listed under that. So can we, I'm sorry?
Do you mean for the last
Yes.
meeting?
Yes, ma'am. The one-
So your question is, can you?
Can we add it, can we add back in? Do we need a motion to add
I
that?
think you do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Board members, the resolution that's in the packet reference referring the C.W. Davis issue at 384 permits. C.W. Hudgens, I apologize. I know C.W. Davis, so sorry. If he's watching, I apologize, Mr. C.W., but we need to add that back to the agenda so we can discuss it and vote on it. So can I get a motion to add that to the agenda at the end of new business, say 9G?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Green?
Well, I'd like to.
Oh, I'm
discuss
sorry.
it.
Mr. Bowen?
I think this kind of procedure is totally inappropriate. If there's any evidence of any wrongdoing, our county administrator or county attorney should report that to the sheriff's office. But to put this in the form of a resolution and a public statement before there's any investigation, that's not the way law enforcement works. When law enforcement investigates something, they try to keep it quiet. I know, and I'm voicing my objection to why we shouldn't. So if law enforcement wanted to investigate John Doe for sexual assault, they're not going to put in the paper, we're now investigating John Doe for sexual assault. They're not going to, if they investigate and don't find anything, they're not going to come out and say, well, we investigated John Doe for sexual assault but didn't find anything. Neither of those things is going to happen. The only time you're going to find out if John Doe got, from the sheriff's office or law enforcement, got investigated for sexual assault is once criminal charges are filed. And I just think this is a terrible precedent to set and wrong procedure. I think if there's any suspicion that something's been wrong, it needs to definitely be reported to law enforcement, but more quietly through the county administrator or the county attorney. So for those reasons, I'd be against this motion.
Would like to address that. I'm the one that put this resolution in the packet. The county attorney was opposed to putting this in the packet because she said we didn't need it, just like Mr. Bowen said. But for months, we are accused or have been accused of going into closed session and coming out and not saying anything and not being transparent about that specific address. So 2 or 3 months ago, and I believe I've talked to every board member and let them know this here recently, once this was in here, I'm going to be as transparent as I possibly can with that. I know you're shaking your head no. I'm not saying anybody by name or particular. But folks, we can't seem to do anything right no matter what we decide to do. Seriously. You know, I came on this board to represent this county with honor and integrity. I will continue to do that to the best of my ability, even if you disagree with me. If this board wants to remove this and we just pick up the phone and have the county administrator call the sheriff, that's perfectly fine with me. But it really gets tiring when we're told that we keep stuff and we're not transparent. So I try to take steps to make it transparent. So I just want to make it perfectly clear. I'm the board member that had this put in the packet, none of the other four. It was me. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak to one of the last paragraphs in this resolution. The concern of 384 Old Ferry Road is a concern. But at the end, it says, as well as any other building permit applications which may have been forged and fraudulently submitted to the Matthews County. So as I read this resolution, it doesn't just pertain to 384. It pertains to anything that any applications that were made to the county that were deemed fraudulent. And the way that I look at it is we have a fiduciary duty to make sure that if this does happen, that anyone that is harmed by this, even through the investigation, we have those documents. And they can be investigated, okay? It states the claim. These documents are foiable. So there's no underlying motive here, and I believe Mr. Andrade had reached out to, I believe 410 North Bayhaven about a couple of applications. I'd like him to step forward and read those. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss County Administrator, would you, Ms. Ramona, do that?
Yes, so I have a email from Helen Ardman, which is the owner of 410 South Bayhaven. And Bobby had sent her some building permits. And she said, "Hi, Bobby. I just double checked with my husband, Class Abrahamson, and he has confirmed that the signature on the zoning application you sent over is not his. Class is CC'd here. The signature on the zoning application is also not mine. To note, the email address on the attached zoning application is Josephine and Michael Cassell shared email. I believe this application was completed and signed by either Michael or Josephine Cassell. Similarly, the building permit application that Michael Cassell submitted on our home edition in April 2021 was not signed by J.W. Hudgens Jr. Either Josephine or Michael Cassell signed it attached."
Thank you.
Board members, do we have any further discussion in reference to the resolution?
I would just like to comment that I too had commented that I didn't think we should be going forward with this resolution. I thought it was more appropriately handled with the county administrator going directly to the investigators.
Yes, ma'am, you did. You did. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Would you repeat the motion?
Put it on the agenda. Any more further discussion about placing it on the agenda under 9G? Yes. Judy, could you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Bowen,
Nay.
Mr. Walls,
Aye.
Mrs. Phillips,
Nay.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Dawes.
Aye. Everybody who'd like to take a 5-minute recess for a minute, please. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Debbie Dawson, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I think my wife knows you, Debbie Dawson. You probably know half the county, so. I wanted to thank you personally for all the work you've done. I worked for Verizon for 48 years, but not really in telecom, and I was in the real estate side of it. But I know what you were up against, and I know the hours you spent. I wanted to personally thank you.
Thank you so much. I've got a great team working with me.
I know you do.
They're all on vacation this week. Didn't know one of them anywhere around. Yeah, I'm flying solo today.
But I wanted to let you know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Don't stop.
No, no, we're not. I get to change the subject.
Good. Good. And I'm glad the towers worked out. I know that was a bit of a risk.
And it's going well now.
Yeah.
We're getting some real traction on it. So, yeah, we went out on a limb and built some towers with our money. So
I
that
know.
was a big stuff, but it's paying off.
I remember telling my wife I would never have done that.
Oh, thank you. So which one? Let's see.
Let me make sure I turn it on. I always trick people. They think it's on and it's not.
Okay.
Now it's on.
All right, now just do.
Just hit that.
Okay. All right, that's good. Thank you so much, Judy. I appreciate it.
Mobile going on too, right?
That's just about ready to go live.
Well, the challenge with 5G is the range is nothing like 4. LTE used to be it's a 4 or 5 mile range. Which you get. So if you want to penetrate a county inside of that, you need one tower.
But we're gonna, when we, this, the big project we have, right? We're supposed to get some next week, so fingers crossed.
Good.
So far, it's good.
Yeah, good. Well, I promise you, Russ, I'll be on time. Well, I can almost promise you that.
Very well stated, sir.
Thank you.
Very well.
Yeah, thank you. I got a little stumbling. I've, since I last talked to you, I had throat cancer.
Oh, how'd you do?
I'm cancer free right now.
God bless you.
But between the radiation and the surgery, I can't get my cadence right.
Well, that's okay. The thing is, no cancer.
Yeah, you're right.
I
You're
had
right.
a friend of mine got the ring bill yesterday.
Yeah,
Time old musician friend of mine, he had cancer.
Yeah.
It was a treatable form of lymphoma.
Yes.
And I mean, but he, that C word scheme, the heck there ain't.
Yeah, no, it does.
It does.
It changes your whole life too.
Yeah.
It sort of takes it over.
It makes all of this.
Right.
No matter.
I got a present for you tonight.
I know you would, because let me tell you something, you've done a splendid job. All right, yeah, I hear there's a line running down Bohanna, so
Yes, sir.
that is wonderful, you know, hey. I'm just, listen, I'm so happy we got to this point with that, and I know you will.
Oh, my goodness.
You work really hard. You better put up with me.
Yeah, that too.
We all had to pick up the slack. We have one or two more.
Made my comments much easier.
Everybody ready? We'll go ahead and return back in session. Ms. Rowe, how are you this evening? You have
Good
some good
evening.
news for us?
Yeah. I'm going to change the subject.
Please. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Doss, members of the board and county staff and citizens of Matthews. The Broadband Advisory Board is excited to report good news to you tonight. I have here the tale of two towers, one at the rescue squad at Hudgens and the other at the Bohannon Fire Station. Okay, let's see if this, oh, there we go. ARPA funding paid completely for both towers when we built them. We promised you high-speed internet, improved cellular service, and we promised you revenue. And now the time has come. On May 28th, the first crew arrived at Hudgens to prepare the groundwork, pouring cement pads, installing cabinets, delivering equipment and materials. On the 24th of June, another crew arrived at Bohannon to do the same. But in the meantime, at Hudgens, work was moving forward with each new team that came in. Then it happened. Oops. Then it happened. The climbers arrived. The crane rolled in with a reach of 250 feet. Our tower is 195 feet. On the first day, they prepared the framework for mounting the antennas using a bucket lift and the crane arm. But the next day, the crane and the bucket were gone, and they were on their own to climb the towers themselves. Talk about superpowers. Their nerves of steel, their strength to go up and down that 195 feet with no net, the energy to do that until 6:30 that night on a 90-degree day with thunderstorms threatening. They are my heroes. They never stopped till they got the job done. Kudos to Joe Puckett, Travis Souther, and Alex Souther. And here they are, up in the bucket and the crane. And there's the equipment. Now the engineers come in to tweak the equipment, check the signal strength, and bring 5 to 6G service to an area that has been a dead spot for so very long. The people who work at the Thrifty spot have told me that they can only get a cell signal in the bathroom. So they're going to be really happy. What is equally important is the revenue that will come to the county that you have wanted. Revenue other than real estate taxes. And you don't have to do a thing to get it. Now the Bohannon Tower is under construction with Verizon wireless equipment as well. The cranes and the climbers are due to arrive there in about 3 weeks. And then it will go live about a month later. And guess what? More revenue will come in. As you know, we will have a light installed on the top of the tower as the equipment goes up. This is Hudgens, and you see the light on the top of the tower at Hudgens. That will occur both at Bohannon as well. Ramona Wilson and Willie Love have been working on skewering the light kit and working with the crew to install it. Are you ready for some more good news? On July the 8th, Jeff Biku, Willie Love, Ramona Wilson, Tim Dawson, and I met with Adam Waltall, who is the T-Mobile Government Account Executive for Virginia, and other T-Mobile executives to discuss the possibilities of their installing service on our 2 towers as well. Jeff has worked his magic once again and is negotiating contracts with them to lease the space on the towers at 180 feet, since Verizon Wireless has the top spot at 190. T-Mobile has already approved the RF path for both towers. They are presently working with their management team to start the process for the Hudgens Tower. We should be getting the RFI, the request for information, in a few weeks, since we already have license agreements for Verizon Wireless. We will use the same for T-Mobile with a few modifications. Once Hudgens is in process, we will start working the same process for Bohannon and expect a time frame for Hudgens of about 3 months and 6 months for Bohannon. And yes, this is more revenue for the county that is not real estate taxes. Supervisors, county administration, county staff, citizens of Matthews, we can celebrate major steps forward tonight. The Broadband Advisory Board is looking forward to continue moving forward our goal of universal coverage for Matthews County. Stay tuned. More to come. These are the three guys that, it was incredible. I watched them till they came down. I stood out there and watched them the whole day. They were amazing. And this is the tower at Bohannon, which does not yet have a light. But if you see it now, there's a lot of work going on. A lot of things have already been installed. And I think that's it. Thank you, Judy, for helping me with that. Do you have any questions for me?
I just want to thank you so much. It's been a long journey.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. My team, my guys, as I call them, they're all out of town. They're all on vacation tonight. I'm flying solo. But I got a tremendous team that works with me, and whenever I call, they come. It's amazing to have the group of people I have working with me. And thank you to all of you, Ashley, Judy, all of you. Mr. Bowen, you showed up for us the other day out there. Mr. Doss, you've answered many of my phone calls. And Ramona, and the county attorney, we've wrestled through leases and everything else. So thank you for all that all of you all are doing to make this happen. We've been in business now, the Broadband Advisory Board, for 6 years as of June 19th. Yes. Soon to be finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rowe. Next on our agenda is the reassessment RFP discussion. Ms. Wilson?
Thank you, Chairman Doss. The board may recall at the March 12th, 2025 budget workshop that the board recommended that I, the county administrator, pursue reassessment as soon as possible due to significant costly errors that had been found in the 2023 reassessment. We're currently on a 4-year term. The 2023 reassessment was performed on a 6-year interval. However, administration could not find an ordinance indicating that the county would perform reassessments every 6 years. And without an ordinance, the county will follow state law, which says reassessments need to be done every 4 years unless voted on by the board for a different interval. Based on the 4-year interval, reassessment would need to be performed by 2027. Middlesex County's reassessment is also due in 2027, and Middlesex reached out to Matthews County to determine if we were interested in a collaborative RFP with Middlesex and King and Queen. The 3 counties developed the RFP and advertised on EVA. Proposals were due June 13th, 2025. We received 2 proposals for evaluation. One was from Vision, and the other one was from Cohen. A proposal evaluation committee was formed and consisted of the following individuals: the Middlesex County Administrator, Middlesex Commissioner of Revenue, and 1 Middlesex board member, Matthews County Administrator, Matthews County Commissioner of Revenue, and 1 Matthews board member, Janice Phillips, King and Queen County Administrator, County Attorney, and King and Queen Commissioner of Revenue. The evaluation committee met on June 17th to discuss the proposals. The committee developed a list of questions for each company. On July the 7th, each company was provided 1.5 hours to interview with the committee and respond to questions from the evaluation committee. Both companies were capable of completing Middlesex and Matthews by 2027 deadline. King and Queen deadline is further out. The costs for Matthews County, the vision proposal was $307,351 based on 11,600 parcels, or $26.50 per parcel, plus $7,152 for 343 mobile homes, or $20.85 per parcel. The Cohen proposal was $278,730 based on 11,638 parcels, or $23.95 per parcel. During questioning, Cohen indicated that mobile homes would be charged at $4 per mobile home, and at 343 mobile homes, that was the $1,372. The evaluation committee discussed in length after we interviewed the two companies, and they agreed that Cohen would be recommended to the respective boards. Each locality will have a separate contract with the reassessment company. The contract with Matthews will need to be developed and reviewed with the county attorney. The county attorney has extensive experience with reassessments, and so she agreed to help develop the contract and make sure we had all the requirements we need. There is no commitment required as part of the RFP, so I'm just looking for a direction from the board to either withdraw from the process or to proceed to contract negotiations.
Board members?
I would like to see you proceed with the process. If we can get an agreement with Middlesex or Gloucester or anybody else, that's going to make it a little cheaper for us. Thank you.
Ms. Wilson, this price compared to the cost of our prior assessment, I think
It's more.
I
Yeah. Last one we spent close to 200,000. And this one is
30, it's a significant
yeah.
increase, yeah. And in full disclosure, the company that did this before has joined with Vision, correct? So if we had gone with Vision, it would have been the prior assessors with perhaps the same problems. So I think Cohen is probably a good choice. I agree, we should proceed.
Mr. Bowen?
Agree we proceed and take this concept, the more we can find synergies, whether it's with the school board or with another jurisdiction, the better off we are being such a small county. We have to find synergies to lower our costs across the board. So I applaud you for doing this.
Mr. Bowen, I just wanted to comment, one of the things that came out in the discussions was at some point down the road, perhaps looking at a regional assessor, which the counties would hire rather than contracting.
I've never been really in agreement with the 6-year plan because the markets tend to change. And at the height of the market, this past assessment, a lot of people's taxes went up on real estate. And I'd like to see a correction. I think some prices are starting to come down. I think things are starting to stabilize and get in line. And I think in the next 4 years, in the 4 years, a 4-year term is a much better model in the correction because, and especially if you can team up with another locality to save money. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson, do you need a board
I
vote?
think
or-
he agreed.
I agree. I think also you should move forward.
We just need consensus, right? Yeah.
I think you have that.
Thank you.
Actually, I think that a motion would be in order. Just a motion to authorize the county administrator to enter into negotiations and to develop a contract subject to review and approval by the county attorney.
Board members, can I get?
So move.
Thank you. Do I have a
Second.
second? Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Do you want to move on to the next item?
The next item is, during the strategic planning process, the board had one of their goals was to be more involved with the EDA, and they had requested that we have a joint meeting with the EDA. And actually, we had an EDA meeting right before this meeting, and we had talked about August 27th. Is that a Wednesday? Is that a Wednesday? I can't. In the EDA meeting, we had the 29th, but I think it's the 27th.
27th Wednesday.
Yeah, okay, so it's supposed to be the 27th. I'll correct that with the EDA. But they agreed to, they normally have their meetings at 4 o'clock, but they agreed to make it at 5 o'clock just to make it easier for the board members. 27th, yeah. So if you all want to agree to that.
Sorry, 27th.
27th at 5, yeah, and I'll correct that with the, because we were thinking the 29th, but.
Is that date and time good for everyone? Okay.
And they did, at our EDA meeting, the chair requested that each committee member or board member come back with one thing that they would like to work on with the Board of Supervisors. So we should have 7 items to discuss.
Okay, do you want to go to C?
Yes, C is resolutions from the school board, and this is, Dr. Daniel is here if you have any questions, but basically this is grant money that carried over from one year to the next, like the asbestos money. They received it in FY '25, but the work isn't done and it's going to carry over to the next year. So that's what these 3 resolutions are for. And do you have any questions, or do you have any questions for Dr. Daniel?
Do we have any questions reference to
I'm
1,
not-
2, or 3?
I just want to say I'm impressed with the asbestos abatement situation. That's very encouraging, and I hope it's going well. I went by the school and I saw lots of stuff outside. Thank you.
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
Yes, we need a motion.
Yes, sir. I would make the motion that we allow the school board to recommit or allocate the funds to fiscal year '26.
And those are the number 1, $142,616.45. Number 2, $4,354.10. And then number 3, the $979,256.53. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'd like to take a second and thank the work that Mr. Tillage and his staff's doing at the high school. If you haven't seen, if you haven't had an opportunity, there is a lot going on there right now. And it's actually pretty amazing, so.
Chairman, I can't wait till he gives you start giving you the figures on the oil.
On the oil.
We're saving over, yeah. It's big dollars.
Okay. Ms. Wilson, D?
All right. This is a request from the BZA for additional funds for training. I know the agenda says $400, but the agenda before that for the July 17th meeting, it was $1,800. So they had, the training is $700 per person, and one of the board members is already trained, so there was 4 people that need that training. And they had $1,000 in their budget, and they signed up one person currently, which took up $700 of that $1,000, and then they had $300 left. And then they found out that another member had signed up on their own for the training, so they have 2. So that's where the $400 came from. But I had a discussion with Sue Thomas today. She is the one member on the board that is already trained, and she said there is additional training in the spring. And that's still the same budget year. So I said, we'll just ask for the $1,800 from the board.
Board members, I think it's something that we need to approve if we ask a citizen that volunteers for a committee. I think we need to give them the training that they need for the position that we asked them to do. Do I have a motion to approve the?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So, the SRO, Sheriff, would you like to come forward? No, it's next. How are you this evening, Sheriff?
I'm lovely.
Thank you.
I guess it was at the last board meeting, I submitted a packet to you all and explained the situation this year. If any of you all have looked at social media, we've had over 20 arrests in the past week and more than 80 offenses that we've charged people with. This is just another one of the many reasons that I've had to pull Sergeant Hill, who was our SRO, not just for one school, for all 3 schools. She is a sergeant, she is a supervisor, she deserves to be in a supervisor capacity and not split among 3 schools. So all I can do is say we're either going to do it the right way or we're going to not do it at all, because 1 is just not enough for 3 schools. So ironically, I can't remember if it was the day of the board meeting, I think it was, but in my email popped up an SRO grant that DCJS does. And of course, it's based on the local composite index. I submitted a packet to you, and I'll leave you with the copy that I still have. I did complete the grant package. It's all done. I have submitted it because the window is still open and I can withdraw it if I need to, but I don't want to wait till the last minute, and the deadline was August 13th. The local composite index does require a cash match. There are things that if we did have an SRO, I'm not looking for one at all 3 schools, I'm looking for one at each campus, because the 2 schools, elementary and middle, are connected. One SRO could quite frankly handle both schools. But I have completed the packet. Along with this are all the other expenses that we would have with adding a position. You all were gracious and gave us the positions back in January of 2024. I didn't ask for anything but the positions. I didn't ask for any. I said, we'll make it work. We'll deal with used, our older vehicles and just try to make everything last, and we have. But if we were to get these SRO positions, I cannot. We're scraping by now. So we would have to look at additional things, plus they would need body cameras. So the packet that I left with you all last board meeting, the only thing I forgot to put in there, that was just a draft. The only thing I forgot to mention was, I'm sorry that I emailed you guys. I'm sorry, I didn't give it to you I gave you the manual. But no, I emailed you all a preliminary draft. The only thing that was not in that was the body worn cameras. By our departmental policy now, they have to wear those in the performance of their duties. So I did have to add that in there. So it changed the original figures by about another, it was like a $7,000 total. So the match part would have been about 4-something thousand, and the grant award would give me another 3,000 and something to go towards the body cameras. So that is, and I can leave this with you all, and y'all can share it. School will be starting before we know it. So, we're right here. Unfortunately, this grant doesn't open. They don't operate by fiscal year. They operate by calendar year. So these positions wouldn't even be able to be filled till January. So that's going to really put us in a jam. The extra positions you all gave us last January, if you recall, was to ensure that our deputies are not alone at night. That was I was crying for it, because look at the kind of cases we're working. We are not working like just Johnny, picks on his brother. No, we are working double homicides. We are working violent offenses, and I am not going to take away from the community as a whole to take a body to split among 3 schools anymore. It's just too much demand on the SRO.
What is the total? The
total in
match
this
now?
new package, the total project, okay, and I will break this down, was $362,213. So that's the total to fill these two positions. Some of the equipment that I have a surplus of, like, for example, tasers, we were donated some by York County, so I don't have to go buy those. I have a surplus. So those are considered an in-kind match, which reduces our overall match. But the cash match for the county would be $210,457. The grant proceeds to go towards would roughly give about $60,000 for each position, and the total would be $148,356. Now, this is assuming that they approve this. So I don't know. Sometimes they kick them back for various things. So, but I submitted this based on, right now, we do not have an SRO. Sergeant Hill's been told she's not going back to the school. The position is vacant with no idea how we would accommodate it.
Is that an annual cost, the 210?
No. No, the positions, whatever the salary is that we would bring the two positions in, that would be the continual plus the fringe benefits. Now these figures, I had Barbara Reed calculate, and she gave me all of our benefits package to lump into this, because that is a cost that's incurred upon the county. So sick days, vacation days, your medical package, all this stuff is in this total. So, I feel like I covered all the most expensive things that would hurt our budget if but this is the best that I could do. Cars are in it.
So,
Ms. Wilson, go ahead.
sorry. So the 148,356, next year, we would have to pay 0.59 of that based on
No.
our local composite?
No, I've done it down to the penny. Our local composite index is 0.5904. That is our local composite index. So breaking it down, the total project is $362,213. If you do your math, now you can check me on this, I'm good with that. 59% of that total is $210,457.
Sorry, I was referring to next year. So next year.
Next year, well, it's hard to anticipate because we don't know what we're hiring somebody at. We don't know if they're green, they can have a lesser salary. If they're very experienced, it could be up there. So
But theoretically, it would be
we would look at
0.59.
the salaries. We would already have the equipment and the supplies, so we would be looking at roughly with the benefits and everything, 208.
So that's not in the budget, right? I mean, well, but it's only
It-
148 for this year, right? No, it's 210 for this year.
It would be 210 to get
This year.
everything to outfit these positions in the school. And this is where I was asking, I mean, our budget, we're given our budget to meet the needs in the community. And I'm not gonna by any means stand up here because I serve the schools. I'm not gonna say that the schools are not important and don't deserve anything, because they do. And it's important for us to get to them at that age before we're arresting them as adults. We want to have a good relationship with our kids. But I can't keep funding it out of my budget, because what I'm seeing is it's leaving our deputies hanging, and it's creating an officer safety issue.
So just a clarification question, so it's 362 for this year. And then our portion cash match is 210,457. Okay, so next year, we will only have to pay the salaries because we will have already bought the vehicles.
It's just the salaries
And
is
then
what
of
we
those
would.
salaries-
And that's where I was asking, I had said in that board meeting, I was hoping that the school would work
Right.
with us, and because these are gonna people assigned there, like Sergeant Hill was pulled out for other duties. I mean, because she's one of our people. These people would actually be assigned to the schools and available at their campus every time school is in session.
So the next year, when we have their salaries, we will only be responsible for the 0.59 of their salaries. The grant will cover the rest, is that
I-
correct?
This you apply for every year.
Oh, you apply for this
And
every
you
year?
can do it a continual funding. Now, whether I've never done this before. So I think it's either tiered to gradually let the county assume the cost. That's how they used to do it. I don't know if they still do it that way or not.
How long how long before you could withdraw it if you had to?
I think I can withdraw it at any time, but I just don't, with everything going on, I needed to get it submitted.
I only asked, I'm leaning towards that, yes, not withdrawing it, but.
Well, it's
I
a
just-
big
we need-
ask, and it was why I also said something to the school board.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't know if there's any flexibility. You know, I'm not trying to come to the county and ask for this. I'm just trying to show what the need is. But I need to make sure that our people are safe on these roads at night, and I just can't take away
ma'am.
anymore.
Well, board members, at least for me, I would love to see if we can figure a way out to pay for this. I don't know, who knows what's true on Facebook or not, but today they were reporting a multiple shooting at Avon Pier in Nags Head.
That was true. My
was true?
parents live there.
Okay.
I think it was Avalon Pier, not
Avalon.
Avon.
My point to that is everybody, Matthews is a small, quaint area. A lot of people think it will never happen here. Well, I was on that pier last week. So somebody just drove up and started shooting. So it could happen anywhere. So I do think that the risk outweighs the reward for this. I think I had that backwards, but you know what I'm saying.
I get
it. I do think, board members, if we should try to see if we can figure a way out to approve the sheriff's request. Those are my comments.
And if you want, just so you understand, out of this figure, not only is it the salary and the benefits, but it is firearms. There's a cost with that. It's not like I have an abundance of those. So firearms are included as a cash match because the grant will not allow grant funds to be spent for vehicles or firearms. So those automatically had to be provided by the county. But the uniforms are covered, the body-worn cameras are covered, there was a lot of things that were covered. It's just, again, that local composite index that puts us in a position where if they would remedy that formula, we'd be in a better place.
Ms. Wilson, what would it take for you to look into this and determine what it will take for us to?
I can look at, but I think what or the sheriff is looking for is authorization to submit this grant, and then once submitted, if we get it, then, and in the meantime, I'll be looking for that money.
Board members, do you have any discussion? Or do we have a motion?
I think we should proceed and allow her to apply for the grant. A request of this size should give us pause, and so we have to look at it very closely. However, we are experiencing some savings, we think, in the schools. And hopefully those energy cost savings will continue. And if for some reason we can't do it, it's my understanding we can withdraw the request.
We can.
So
Yeah.
I think with that understanding, I would certainly move that we go authorize the sheriff to move forward with this and submit the grant.
Is that
I'll second.
a motion and a second? Any further discussion?
The only thing that I would add, and I won't put Dr. Daniels on the spot, but I would like to see if the school board, if they can help us out at all with this moving forward. I know we need the SROs, I'll never dispute that, but if we could get it all the help we could get. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Next on the agenda is not,
While the sheriff is still up there,
Oh,
can you give the board the good news on the radio system?
The good news?
The news.
We've had one hell of a day. The radios, we've had people on arrest today that dispatch can't even hear anything that they're saying. we were in a panic there for a bit and didn't know if they were okay. Apparently the guy today elbowed a female deputy and tried to sweep the other male deputy's leg from under him, and we had no communication to know that they were okay. And the sergeant who's in here was responding to back them up, and luckily everything was okay. But those dispatchers, when I walked in there, Laura was in tears. She was
And when
scared to
is-
death.
And when is the new radio cut over?
We're
That was the
looking-
good news.
I believe by September. I don't know the exact date because we keep hearing, okay, we got something held up here, so I don't know. But I'm thinking September. So it looks very promising, but today between the internet, again, I'm gonna say this, Breeze Line is failing us. We lost internet today, took down every single computer in the 911 center, I think it took out the phones, not the 911 phones, but the regular phones, took down internet communications. It was just a disaster. They say Mercury's in retrograde right now, and I've about had enough. So I wish we had an alternative for internet, but we need to explore options because they're telling us that they might be able to get out there tomorrow morning. That's not good enough when it comes to emergency services. I'm sorry.
Sheriff, was the other avenue that was trying to make something happen that didn't work out? Mr.
With
Biku?
broadband, I haven't heard any more, and I'm not gonna say I don't have a buried email somewhere, but I have not. I know he came over, we met, but that's been it. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff.
You're welcome.
Chairman, can I say something more? She was talking about the local
Yes, sir.
composite index. So if you all remember our discussion back in the spring of the year, now is the time for us to start lobbying Mr. Green, Mr. McDougal, and Mr. Hodges to try to do something about this local composite index to get it more in line so it's not hurting us as bad here in rural areas.
Thank you, Sheriff.
You're welcome.
Next on our agenda is 9G, which is the resolution that we discussed earlier. Do we have any motions reference to that resolution?
I'll make the motion, we move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that to get to discussion.
Do we have any discussion?
Yes, sir. So I agree with Mr. Bowen. I don't think we need this resolution. You and I talked about this earlier in the month. It would set a bad precedence. I believe that from the discussion we've had earlier, that the sheriff has all she needs to move forward with an investigation.
Any further discussion?
Given that, if that is the case, I agree.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Green?
Mr. Bowen?
So the vote is
The
to
vote
adopt
the vote is to adopt the
the
resolution.
resolution, right? I vote nay.
Mr. Walls?
Nay.
Ms. Phillips?
Nay.
Mr. Jones?
Nay?
Mr. Doss?
Nay. Okay, next on the agenda, County Administrator reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
The financials are in your packet along with department reports. I do want to highlight one item on the revenue side. So if you remember when we started the budget, the personal property tax, I had proposed 3.9 million. And I guess with discussions with the treasurer and I had based that on actuals from the year before. And I guess there was some discussion about income that was still coming in on personal property. And so the board ended up increasing that to 4.2 million. And now with the amounts coming in, I don't believe we're gonna be even close to that. I think we're probably, I think even at 3.9, it will be tough to hit that target. So I think when we do the budget amendment, we're gonna have to consider that we're not gonna hit that revenue item.
And this is under personal property?
Yeah, personal property tax. And I do know about the vet.
I'm biting my tongue.
Well, I don't know, I guess how do we correct this moving forward so it doesn't happen again? That's probably the best way to ask it.
Yeah, I think probably the best way to do it is, we are using actuals, so, and we need to use the actuals, but I also think we need to, when we do the personal property tax relief, we need to just include that in that revenue item and not budget for it separate. And I think that will correct it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the financials, Mr. Walls?
I don't have, just a couple of questions. On page 1, I saw where we had paid Vacor. And I was just wondering, we had this discussion a couple months ago. We were using Versa, but we paid Vacor $771. What was that?
That's for the hybrid disability. That's for the, not the ones and twos, but the newer employees, because we have to pay, we pay for their
Our
their
insurance through
their
Vacor.
disability, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I noticed on page 7, who is Hutch? Can't even say it. Crendenzas, PED, $1,325.
Yeah, which department is that under? Which department?
Page 7, I'm looking now.
Is it the one?
6, 7. Let's see, is that page 7? Hutch Crendenzas. It is at the bottom of page 7, and it is under the Commonwealth's Attorney. Hutch Crendenzas. New, is new furniture? Oh, well, thank you. I did not know that. Thank you. I had no idea.
All right, any other questions on the financials? All right, the next item I have is new hires and promotions. So we have Jamie Holmes. He is a full-time facilities and grounds technician, and he started on, he just started, didn't he? Yeah, he just started. And then Jason Hudgens, who was our supervisor, has been promoted to the grounds manager, and most of his time will actually be spent over with the schools, working on those projects. And then we have Cole Wheeler, who is part-time seasonal groundskeeper. He was hired. And then on 6/24, we hired Chris Hudson, and he is our facilities and ground tech. And we have one more position to fill, another facilities and grounds technician. And then effective July 1st, we had 2 promotions. Judy Green was promoted to the Assistant County Administrator, and Tim Tillage was promoted to Facilities and Grounds Director. So if you see them, welcome them. And then I have 2 items that I'm adding at the last minute. One is VIPSA. We have our household chemical collections and computer recycling. Matthews is on the list this year on August 16th from 8 till 12 noon. And the location will be Starfields LLC at 2905 Buckley Hall Road in Cobbs Creek. And we do have this brochure on our website if anyone wants to look it up. And then there was a press release from the Main Street Committee this afternoon. It was Matthews National Farmers Market Celebration. National Farmers Market Week is August 3rd through the 9th, 2025. This annual celebration highlights the vital role farmers markets play in our communities. On Saturday, August 9th, 2025, residents and visitors to Matthews County will be able to purchase products from an abundance of vendors as well as enjoy a variety of activities intended for both young and old. Special note is the planned performance of the popular local music group 3 Creeks Down from 10 a.m. to noon. And that will be held here in the courthouse.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilson. Any questions or comments from Mrs. Wilson?
Ms. Wilson, is it possible to use the jail workforce to maybe cut grass and do it on a weekly basis? Or is this just something we can do on a less regular basis?
The problem with that for groundskeeping is the equipment. They're really hard on our equipment. I know the sheriff is working with them to do some tree trimming, and we have started discussions about maybe using them for ditch cleaning, just the hand digging types work, because there's a lot of them that, and I actually did just get a call from GC Morrow about some ditches, so I'll be getting with him to figure out which ones we can clean.
Okay, you keep me in the loop on the ditches, please.
Sure.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilson. Do you have the comments for the public comment?
For the public comment period, each speaker is allowed 3 minutes if speaking as an individual and 5 minutes if speaking on behalf of a group such as a club, association, nonprofit organization, and the like, or unless prior arrangements have been made for the individual to be allotted 5 minutes. All remarks should be addressed to the board as a whole. Speakers shall refrain from comments or behavior that involves disorderly speech and action, name-calling or personal attacks, obscene or indecent remarks, and derogatory comments on personalities. Please state your name and address for the record and declare any group you are representing. Comments must be germane to the services or policies of the county. Persons speaking before the board or leaving comments on the board's digital meeting portal will not be allowed to campaign for office, use profanity or vulgar language, or address pending litigation.
Good evening.
Thank you. Good, Donna Machin, Foster, Virginia. Concerning licensure, doing the right thing means you don't wait for someone to ask the right question. Are you a licensed attorney? Meant, are you able to practice under a license? Are is a present tense verb, not a future tense verb. The right answer was no. The answer given did not pass the test of telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. We citizens deserve better. Thank you.
Next. Good evening.
Good evening. Josie Thorpe, Halliford. As long as we're talking about history, I thought I would enlighten some of the board members. Before the Y was built, there was discussion with Judy Castleman and myself with Hampton Roads Sanitary District. And we discussed with them about putting in a central system, which we have now in Hutchins. And they hesitated. And we said, you know, this would be a perfect time to bring in Gwen's Island. And he said, absolutely. So the pump station that's in Hutchins was done so that we could hook up Gwen's Island. So at that particular time, and I can't, maybe Janice, you could tell me when we did the Y, but it had to be, anyway, at that time it was going to be $1 million to hook up everybody on the island to the sanitary district at Hutchins. So that's just a little piece of information that maybe people don't know, so that capacity is still there.
Thank you. Anyone else? Good evening.
Good evening again. Real quick, hey, Tim, we appreciate the benches, but I would have really loved the cushions with them. Just saying, it's a long meeting. Okay, I wasn't planning, D. Russell, 276 Geyser Lane. I wasn't planning on speaking again, but after the last resolution, I jotted down some thoughts, so I'm just gonna read them to you. Bringing forth a resolution as the BOS has done this evening, and although voted down, is not transparency, and by placing it on the agenda, the damage is already done. It is nothing more than making the BOS prosecutor, judge, and jury in the court of public opinion, which is not the job of Matthews County BOS members. And if you think that the majority of citizens of Matthews County don't see what you are doing, you are wrong. If there was actually a real suspect of bad behaviors, the very last thing you want to do is to notify the person you're investigating in advance by a county resolution nonetheless. Since when has the county had to have a resolution to ask the sheriff's department to investigate what they believe is a crime? You do not have to be a detective to come to that realization and what this resolution was truly about. It is incredibly disturbing that this board on a monthly basis has continued to publicly persecute, demonize, and slander a member of our community the way you have. This is not how good government operates, nor is it an example of good governance. Shame on you.
Sheriff?
One more time, Sheriff April Edwards, Matthews County Sheriff's Office. Mr. Bowen, you brought up about the inmates, so I just want to kind of give you all a little bit of background, what I've been doing with the inmates. Personally, I believe that if somebody's incarcerated, that they should pay back to society in some way or another. So I was determined to bring back the inmates. I do not have the budget for the inmates, but they earn $1 a day, okay? And they are at my disposal, you know, whatever we see fit. I sent our deputies over to M&M and bought pruning shears, things that shouldn't even be in my budget, you know, like that I should be spending expense-wise, but I bought it because I want to make sure that Liberty Square looks how I would expect it to. There was a lot of undergrowth at the bottom of the trees, which is a safety concern when it starts to grow a bit dense. So I had them take everything 6 foot up, you know, so we are in compliance with the courthouse security manual. So I'm utilizing them to do things around our office that are needed, and I feel like it does take the burden off of Tim Tillage and his staff. But I am paying them either out of asset forfeiture funds, or if there is somewhere in my budget, you know, for the equipment, we are doing that. The McVick has been so gracious to tell us that they will fund anything for litter pickup under some kind of a grant thing that they do. So once the inmates start doing roadside litter pickup, they will be funded by McVick, and they did reach out to me to tell me that they would offset that cost. But I'm sorry, in today's time, you can't beat $1 a day, and we're gonna use them to do things that we need them to do around Liberty Square. If I start utilizing them away from Liberty Square, then it can't come out of my asset forfeiture budget. So I'm just gonna tuck that into your hat, you know, that if we're gonna use them to wash social services cars or something like that, then the funds got to come from someplace. Lastly, I've been approached by numerous citizens here in the county that have expressed concerns over the behavior of myself and many of our deputies at the hole in the wall when we went to the hole in the wall so that Tim and Jason could lock the doors. So I am here on the request of citizens to publicly state that there was no raid at Hole in the Wall. In fact, no deputies went inside that building until one of the employees said, I left a personal item in there, can I go back in to retrieve it? We also never went in there and forced customers to leave the establishment. And it was my understanding they didn't open till 11, and we were there at like 10:50, 10:55, I don't know, something like that. But for a board member to tell citizens in this community that we went in there and we removed documents from the establishment without a search warrant, and we went in there and we forced people to leave. It's unacceptable. It damages our reputation, and I am not going to tolerate it. And in a day that you all, I've sat up here and I've already said we wear body cameras, and we wear body cameras for this purpose. To even suggest to a citizen that we are doing things illegally and doesn't even have the audacity to contact me to ask me if this is what we did. It's embarrassing. And it's embarrassing that I got to stand up here and defend my actions in my office to tell you that we did not do anything illegal that day. The only thing that we did that day is we didn't send Tim and Jason into a place blind to go tell people to leave, because quite frankly, if they had their ass handed to them, I wanted to have people there to defend them, because they are county employees and they deserve to have somebody there in case all hell breaks loose. That is why we were there. We were in the parking lot only for peace and order. And if anybody wants to talk to me directly about this or challenge what I am saying, then I'll be glad to show you or the public the body camera footage from that day, because it's going to show that what you're telling the community, and I'm going to ask whoever is spreading this, needs to go back to who they've told it to, and they need to say, I was wrong. I shouldn't be up here having to defend that. And that's all. I'm going home now. Good night.
Thank you, Sheriff. Next. Good evening again, sir.
Lee Dawson, Foster, Virginia, and D. Russell and Sheriff Edwards are going to be a tough act to follow. I got caught by the bell in my public hearing comments, but I wanted to say to you that I was tough on you in those comments about arguing with each other, because if you sat out here on July 17th and tonight, you probably needed to hear it, in my opinion. It does not take away from how much I appreciate the effort that each one of you put into this. I know it must be an incredibly time-consuming job, and I have great respect for each of you. I just wanted to say, keeping the tone down a little bit for the citizens would be helpful. Regarding Pump and Haul, I almost guarantee you, you're paying really, really good money to pump groundwater out of those tanks. There's a cost there that you can avoid. You're gonna have to employ an engineer to go anywhere on this, so if you could find the funds, I would strongly suggest you do that. There's more to that sanitary system than just the tanks. There's a grease trap. I think there's an aerator. I think there are some filtration, fiber filtration, that is probably older than I am, and probably is not right-sized for the population of the restaurant anymore. The so what of that is, if you can clean the water that's leaving the restaurant, you may be able to utilize the drain field to some extent. So in addition, it's sort of embarrassing to have been on temporary and emergency pump and haul for 8 years, if you're a county government especially. So if you could move that up the list, I don't think it's mutually exclusive to the lease or anything else. I think it in the long term will save you some money and result in some payback. So even if you do an RFP for engineering service, or you select one yourself, I think it would be wise to do that and to start that as soon as you can. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next.
Richard Hicks, North Virginia. This may be a bit of a repeat of what that gentleman just mentioned. Sewage at Hole in the Wall. For whatever reason, the Matthews County Health Department allowed Hole in the Wall to open and operate from day one with sewage problems. Leniency none of us would get. The county, in fact, did hire a professional to design a new system for hole in the wall. I believe it was called the Next Gen System. My memory is this firm got paid $64,000 and never delivered an approved design to the county. More mismanagement. Who pays a firm to develop an approved design and ends up with nothing? To this day, hole in the wall, Matthews County is illegally pumping and hauling. They do not have a health department approved pump and haul permit. More leniency from the health department. And as for words such as emergency pump and haul or temporary pump and haul, you will not find those terms defined or used in state regulations concerning sewage. There is no such thing. To get a permanent pump and haul permit from the health department, you have to hire an engineering firm to develop a design for the pump and haul station, which is submitted to the health department for approval and issuance of an operation permit. Have you yet engaged a firm to do this engineering? Final note, you cannot replace a septic tank without a health department permit, which again requires engaging the services of a licensed engineer or sewage system designer. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else that would like to speak tonight? Well, thank you, everyone. Next on our agenda is our closed session. Can you read the language for that? Enter into our closed meeting. Yes, yes.
Is there a motion to go into closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 for the discussion of the performance and evaluation of a specific appointee of the board?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Green, could you roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bowen,
Aye.
Mr. Walls,
Aye.
Ms. Phillips,
Aye.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Doss.
Aye.